New Pack City, welcome back. Welcome back to your favorite Hawks Hoopcast. It's October 13th, 2021. I am your intrepid host. I go by Lou Starsky, aka Chairman of the Boards. And we have a great show for you today. I see the guys piling up in the back there. And the vibe in ATL feels good. You know, the Braves just enacted some revenge on the Milwaukee team, so that feels good. And we have one more preseason game against the Heat, so we get a little revenge ourselves. And we're going to definitely get into that game and what we expect to see out of that one. But it basically is a dress rehearsal, so it definitely feels like it's a more important preseason than the ones prior. I'm looking for Hunter in the rotation. I'm looking for tighter rotations in Hunter's health. And I'm also looking for us to match the Heat's intensity. I thought that we did that pretty well with our starters last time. We will talk a little bit more about that. But first, like, share, subscribe, follow us on all the social media platforms, to stay notified throughout the season. Respect to the comment gang. We love that y'all send those comments in and hit the thumbs up for your boys. We got a special announcement today. We got a new season and new merch. I definitely have gotten myself one of these already, but the link is in the comments. You should have it available on all the comments there. But let me show y'all at the same time what we're talking about here. I should have done this before. I do apologize. Actually, yeah, I'll bring in the guys and do that when I do that. All right, I'll show you all that link. We do got new merch. It's pretty sweet. I can't wait to get my hat, and we will be showing them here in a little bit. Head over to the website, scroll down, show your support, pick up a hat, a hoodie, a shirt. They're all pretty dope. I'm excited. And now with that out of the way, let's bring in the guys and start the show. I'm going to start with, oh, shit. I got to cancel this. What's up, Mike?
Yo, what's up, Luke?
Not a whole lot. What's up, Jamaal?
What's good, family? What's popping with y'all, man?
Not a whole lot. Loving that little piece of artwork you got right there.
This thing huge. That's why I haven't put it on my wall yet.
Oh, in Texas.
Yeah.
The VA boy in Texas with the Georgia.
Well, for this show today, I got us the Vegas odds pulled up, and they talk about the championships, the defensive player of the year, all the awards. So we'll get into that a little bit, and we'll get into a little bit about the Braves, beating the Milwaukee Bucks. Is that or the Milwaukee
Brewers?
Because that feels good to me. And maybe we'll get into a little bit of the Gruden talk if Eddie shows up. But first, I want to ask y'all a question. What are y'all looking for in this last preseason game with the Heat on Thursday?
You can tag that Jamaal you want to.
Oh, well, I'm looking for no injuries. That's pretty much it. I mean, I ain't too really excited about the last preseason game. Personally, I don't want Trey playing. I don't want none of them playing, to be honest. So,
oh, really?
I mean, it's this final preseason game. Unlike football, where dudes are actually fighting to get on these rosters, our roster's pretty much set. So, I mean, if you ain't already on the team.
But you don't think there's any benefit from playing playing your rotations like you would in a regular season to kind of make it feel more. I mean, we start the game. It's like 1 week and we start the season.
Bro, let's be honest. This is the fourth preseason game. If you ain't already started doing it, you're gonna do it now for what? I mean, this game is meaningless. I mean, it would pain me for us to play this game and one of our key players get injured. We already suspect with Hunter, Big O not coming back till January. Clint, is he gonna be available to start the season? So I would hate for us to lose another person to any injury, whether it's something minor or not.
But that cannot give you confidence moving into the season that these guys are actually healthy then, right? Like I want to see I want to see Hunter get 20 minutes just so I can see him run around and see how his shit reacts the next day.
Bro, you already know how his stuff react. He just ran around. Didn't he just run around the last game? 20 minutes? And then they say his knees what did they say? Knee soreness or swelling?
Not swelling. Not swelling.
I've been trying to tell y'all about that Hunter guy, man.
Well, tell us.
Trying my best to tell y'all. I mean, we already see the signs. All you got to do is been paying attention. You're looking at the signs and seeing everything that's going on with him since he first started being hurt. You already know that he can't be on the floor for no span of time without him having to take a substantial amount of time off. And like I said, I saw one time they said somebody degenerative knee. They trying to cover it up like that ain't what it is, but the signs of everything that we're seeing him go through, that's exactly what it is. You know what I'm saying? And I don't remember that shit ever getting better for nobody that ever had it. So, you know, but you know, as far as what I want to see in the beginning of this last preseason game, I want to see him get out there and get some continuity with each other, man, and show some kind of chemistry, you know, going into the season. Because, like I said, this ain't the old Hawks team. People gonna be gunning for us from the get go.
Exactly.
So we got to start off fast, you know, and we can't be out there, you know what I'm saying, thinking that we're gonna be able to sneak up on motherfuckers because we can't. We need people we need them guys in pretty good basketball shape, and we need to go ahead and try to get on, jumpstart our record, you know, because if we don't, we fuck around and start off behind the 8 ball, and I don't know. We got the roster to fix that. But here, we ain't got to go through that shit. I prefer us not to.
Exactly, and you know, like I said, there's a different intensity between preseason games, regular season games, and playoffs. And to me, normally you get a bunch of preseason games. This time we only had 5, so it did feel more like the NFL, where that last game or that third game, whichever one they choose to do the real dress rehearsal, this feels like, you know, they need this. They need this to play against each other to kind of just work out the last bit of the rotations, to me, because we have 3 new guys in there and they haven't played with the other players yet. I'm looking for a good game. I'm not looking for this to be a throwaway game.
What you got, Mike?
I mean, kind of what Lou just said at the end, though. Kind of hope that it's just the last game, and then was like a week or so before the season start. Mm-hmm. And we wanted teams with like the fewer amount of preseason games, and we haven't played one game yet with the entire roster in a sense at your availability. So I mean, that's what I guess I look for, is because in order to get that chemistry and everything together over there, I mean, I feel like we need at least one game against another team that's not ourselves, you know, kind of whole at least. So I mean, they ain't say anything yet. They probably won't say it until tomorrow for his lineups and stuff. I don't know if Clinton gonna be available tomorrow or not, but the whole time they said Clinton be available for the start of the season. So I hope he can be available tomorrow. So we can see that team defense and everything getting together.
What do you think Miami's gonna throw at us? Do you think they're gonna play their starters, or do you think they're gonna rest?
I probably would lean towards they probably throw their starters or whatnot, because I don't think Jimmy. I mean, I don't know. I have to look at and see what they had going, but I don't think Jimmy played yet.
No, I don't think. I think Jimmy did play. Yeah. I saw Jimmy play against. He's played. He played with.
I know they got more than 4 preseason games too, so they might not.
Yeah, they might take a day off, but I don't think that's. I don't think that's a smart move. Like I said, basketball injuries are not as different. You know, basketball injuries are kind of freak. You know, it's like they're either going to happen in a pickup game or they're going to happen in the playoffs. It's not really going to matter.
Yeah, I don't think you too much can almost avoid it or not. I don't think it's like with football or something like that. Like, yeah, it's just better period to not get hit. But in basketball, yeah, like you said, it's more freak accidents or whatnot. There's no kind of determining when it can happen. It can easily happen at practice.
Right, where in football there's just, you know, collision after collision, and every play could literally end your life or career.
Exactly. Yeah,
that's why I feel like Trey them. They need to get his ass in there and play. Trey need to get in there and play. We need to have Bogey in there. Whoever gonna be on the starting lineup, we need to get them there and get some continuity with them guys. I'm tired. What I'm really tired of seeing on this team is the instability in the lineup. You know what I'm saying? It seems like every 3 or 4 games we got a different lineup because we can't keep a stable lineup. You know what I'm saying? Because it's got these knick-knack injuries and fuck all that. Putting in on this babysitting all these players. I mean, get your ass out there and play basketball. You a basketball player. We're playing you mega millions to play basketball. Get out there and shoot basketball, bro. Get in basketball shape. You know what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and get this thing in the way and quit all that worrying about what this ain't, like I said, this ain't football. One of those types of sports. All you doing is running up and down the court. You twist an ankle, then that's something by chance that can happen. But you ain't getting no better sitting on the sideline. Ain't nothing that you can do on the sideline that's gonna help this team.
No.
Let me add. The thing about this last preseason game, and my concern is this: if you watch that, was it the third or the second? No, the second preseason game when they started Trey in the third quarter, and he took a nasty
knee thigh contusion.
And guess what happened? What did he do? He took him out. That was the first game?
Yeah, that was the first game.
Yeah, and he took him out the game. So, I mean, this final preseason game, let's be honest. I mean, if you're the head coach and you've been with them boys through the practices, you already know what time it is. As far as
Well, okay, so who does this game mean the most to then on our roster? Then who has a chance to earn a couple of minutes? In that first game, who has a chance to earn a roster spot? Is there any of that going on?
No, because our team is already set. I mean, the only way you're gonna get unexpected minutes is from an injury. Besides an injury, let's be honest. If Big O wasn't hurt or Capella wasn't hurt, what's my man name? JJ, his minutes was gonna be very little unless Nate McMillan found a way to get him more minutes, which means, like I said, somebody's minutes from our starters who are already.
But he ain't relegated to having to play the 5 or the 4. He can also play the 3. So he the type player
but Eddie,
because of the versatility he has.
You
can make minutes for him.
But we already loaded with wing players, and that's what I'm saying. Now he could probably take some of Hunter's minutes, since Hunter ain't gonna be able to play. I mean, who knows how many minutes, how many games Hunter will be able to play?
I think Hunter's gonna play this last game.
But he might play. But I'm saying, I don't think nobody's gonna come out here right now and put on a show to where you're like, where Nate McMillan to be like, you know what, I'm finna change everything I had going on and put this guy in my lineup.
Man, we got wings with a gang of uncertainties, though. You know what I'm saying? We got wings that got injury uncertainties. We got wings that's got like uncertainties as far as they roll and how they gonna perform when they get in the game. We got some wings. We ain't got nobody just so locked in where they can't get their minutes to. If JJ come in there, he work hard, learn the system, and he create a niche for himself. He can earn some minutes now.
It's not just the starters that need to get some continuity. Really, it's that second unit. I mean, I don't think I've seen DeLone Wright, Cam Reddish, Herder, and did I say DeLone Wright already? Yeah, but I haven't seen those guys play together at all. Oh, Gallo, that's who I was thinking. I haven't seen that second unit.
They played the last game.
No, together. That unit together.
Well, I mean, how do we know that's the unit? See what I'm saying?
Coming off last year, we know who we had starting. You know who the starter was last year, so we can pretty much guess who the backup's going to be this year.
Well, Lou is talking about a specific starting 5 that he wants, not starting, backup 5 that he wants to see. What I asked Lou was, how do we know that 5 that he wants to see is what Nate McMillan is thinking?
Right, and that's a fair point, but I think that's definitely going to be a used lineup. That I don't think all of our different lineups have been deployed. Like I haven't seen our big lineup. Again
that you said, Lou, who did you say was the lineup you want to see?
No. Who I assume, who I assume is our second unit is DeLone Wright at point guard, Kevin Herder at the 2, Cam Reddish at the 3. And Gallo at the 4, and then whoever's at the 5. Whether it's Dang or
we'll slide everybody up and put Lou Williams at one of them guard positions.
Well, the thing is, like, Lou Williams is a specialist, though, right? He's a scorer.
Yeah, but he gonna play. He gonna get his minutes too, though.
Yeah, but when
He
it's
gonna get his minutes.
okay, but if Trey goes out early and we replace him with Lou Williams, our first unit stays the same. So to me, Lou Williams is a special. He's a specialist.
He just passed the hotel, bro.
Hopefully, it's not Lou Williams replacing Trey. We saw what happened when we did that in the playoffs. Hopefully, it's DeLon Wright replacing
He
Trey.
balled out one time. Now he replaced in that Philly game. He balled out.
Actually, that was the game where I think we was losing. Matter of fact,
Yeah, he like 25 points in the second half.
And when Trey went out and Lou came in, but as you can see, the following games didn't go as well.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Let's welcome Chauncey to the show. What's up, Chauncey?
What up? No, pretty much, man. Nate just went head on and just said, "Fuck it." He emptied the tank. We was down 26 points. He chose offense over defense. Lou got hot. Somebody else got hot with Lou. Then he brought Trey. He brought Trey in and ran with Lou for a minute on that 26-point comeback. So
no, that's not the game. That's not the game I'm talking about. I'm talking about the playoff game where Trey went out when he got injured. Remember, we was losing when Trey got injured.
Mm-hmm.
When he stepped on that referee foot.
Oh, you talking about in the Milwaukee series?
And then Lou came. He put Lou in, and then Lou got hot, and we came back and won the game. And that's why I said, but the games after that, it didn't fare so well with Lou Williams being the starting point guard. That's why I was like, well, remember, because everybody was like, where's Brandon Goodwin at? Remember, we didn't know where he was at. We just knew he was supposedly injured.
Right. And shout out to the comments, gang. Patrick says, I think that they should play the starters because they will have a week layoff. I think that week layoff is a big reason to play the guys with some intensity this game.
They gonna play. It's the last preseason game and they haven't played yet. I mean the starters or whatever you want to say, the full roster haven't played yet.
Look, man, I say let them boys go hard for about a half. Sit their ass down. Anybody got time for nobody to be twisting on ankle, fucking up a knee or whatever, tearing an Achilles trying to prove a point in a last game.
But you can do that in a half though.
Yeah.
Basketball, you don't. Basketball is kind of different. Like it's more so the quarters or whatnot. They might not play the entire fourth, or they might just play like the first few minutes into the fourth though. But you're looking at maybe 7 minutes a quarter, or maybe 5 in one of those quarters or whatever. And that's, I don't know, you're looking at just 20, I don't know, about 20 minutes or so like that. Because I mean, I think that was like the goal of the first game or whatnot. He said everybody's gonna play about 20 minutes or something like that. So you do that again though, but it's just broken down throughout the game.
Did y'all catch the Lakers Warriors game? Because it was pretty much starters up until like the third, and then it was all scrubs the rest of the game. So I assume something like that will happen.
Well, but you got to look at the Lakers though. Now the Lakers they need to find some type of chemistry and how they going to work, because you got a whole brand new player in Russell Westbrook, and then what is LeBron going to do? Is he going to defer? So I could see why those dudes playing, and we already know them three, they're not going to play. I bet them three won't play 60 games together. So every opportunity that they get, you want to see them on the court. But I think we're in a different situation, because I think our starters, I mean, we don't need to build chemistry. We have chemistry already. We're adding some rookies, but those rookies are not game changing to where, they're not coming into the starting line.
Right.
So where you're like, oh my God, we need to get these boys some time so they can jail. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So do y'all have games in mind that y'all are going to go to this season? And if y'all do, I'm going to go ahead and bring this up as y'all are telling me. This is some of our new merch from New Pack City. I went ahead and copped me this hat right here. I think it's pretty sick. And then this it's quiet as fuck. I'm definitely gonna have to get me one of those if I'm gonna go to any of these games. And definitely, man, yeah, I'm loving all of this season's new merch. Have y'all picked up any?
Not yet.
I had, man. You know what, man? I really owe Jamaal an apology, because I hadn't bought any new Pack City merchandise, and I bag for goddamn thing else, man. So I'm gonna make sure I get it. I definitely got me one. I'm gonna be rocking it on the hat on the show as soon as I get it. All right. Well, with that said, I guess let's kind of touch on the
on the Braves, just a little bit. Just keep it ATL for just a sec. How perfect was it that Freddie Freeman is the one that hit the winning home run?
I mean, you know what? I mean, it couldn't happen to a better person, man. You know, Freddie Freeman is an extremely nice young man. He's a great guy, and he's a hella talented baseball player. Things got to work out in that man's favor. I'm gonna tell you, you know, hey, I got, you know, I don't do that soft spot shit, but I got a little small one for him after I watched that E60 or that 30 for what I think of that E60 on him.
Yeah.
Hey man, hey, that's a cat you got to really root for, because that man. See, a lot of people think rich folks don't go through shit. That man done been through some shit. Like,
and you couldn't tell. And you wouldn't tell outside of knowing that story. I mean, he's really just a humble dude and goes about his business. But what I really liked about it is literally before the game, all he kept on saying is that he's gonna try to hit the ball opposite field, and he went ahead and hit all of his hits opposite field that game. So yeah, he's a treasure. So I'm excited about the Falcons, or about the Braves doing that. I hope that that energy in the city carries on into this this championship season that the Hawks are about to have. And that the energy, I mean, it just seems like the city was, I mean, they were there in full force on Monday at 1 o'clock. I was impressed with that. We need that for the Hawks.
Oh, bro, let me talk about the Braves, man. The Braves are probably the most popular team that got the word Atlanta in front of it. They go on the road.
TBS, baby.
They go on the road, and it's so many Braves fans everywhere, all because of that. You know, those, how many division titles we won in a row? 12, 13?
Won 15 straight division titles.
Yeah, it's so many Braves fans. So, like, I'm not shocked when when they sell out in Atlanta. That never surprises me, you know, because the Braves.
No, because when I was there, though, when they were winning that championship, it almost got boring. I think by that 12th or 13th season, if it wasn't for these new guys, like I believe there was some new blood that came in. They kind of got everybody a little bit more excited, but people were kind of bored with the Braves making it to the playoffs. It just seemed
it was the beginning of Freddie and Jason Hayward came in the same year.
That's who it was. That's who it was.
Yeah, it was the beginning of Freddie and Jason. Triple was at the end of his role.
Yeah, that's when they got some excitement back.
Yeah, but I'm kind of getting the 1995 feeling.
Because we were still when Freddie,
I like that,
and Hayward, we was competing, but we wasn't at that elite level like we was doing the run with Glavine and the boys. You know what I'm saying? We wasn't at that level yet. We wasn't at that level yet. But now we have almost everything, man. You know, even Will Smith came through last night when it counted. You know what I'm saying? We got young superstars. We got like 4 dudes with 30 homers.
Yeah.
Our best player has been out half the season.
Yeah, and Jock Peterson is a clutch. That's why he wears those pearls.
That's a low-key pickup, man. You know what? When we traded Peterson, that wasn't even on the news, bro. Like, that wasn't even no mainstream, nothing. That was on you just a regular fan, and you just happen to be on like Bleacher Report.
Well, the Braves are at the end of the season. They're in the playoffs, and they just made it to the championship series for their division or for their conference, and that's what we want. And that's what we want for our Hawks. And Vegas has opened up the lines. I don't know if y'all pay attention to shit like this, but let me see if I can get this a little pulled up. But here are the 2021 finals, I guess 21-22 NBA finals odds. What do y'all have the Hawks at? They are at 35. Damn, that seems like a lot. I don't even understand odds. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not.
I was about to say, all I can do is look at the teams or whatever, and I just say, okay. I mean, I don't know, makes sense.
Who do you think is undervalued here? I think the 76ers are overvalued. I think the Clippers might be overvalued. But the rest of it seems pretty normal. I mean, I think the Knicks are kind of down lower than they should be.
I mean, the Clippers and Sixers make sense to me, but the Knicks, what? it makes sense to me too. I mean, what you just walked in with, like the Bulls, probably one more spot above them, but
see, I think the Bulls are going to be way. I think the Bulls are going to be better than people think. I really.
I mean, but a lot of people think the Bulls going to be okay. I don't think anybody. I heard anybody say the Bulls going to be, sorry. I personally think they're going to be okay, but yeah, I don't think that anybody's sleeping on what the Bulls got going on.
You don't
I think it's kind of expected. Nah, man, you got DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine and Vucevic in the same lineup, man. And then you throwing in here Lonzo Ball too. I don't think anybody's sleeping on that.
Yeah, and then so what about the awards, like the Defensive Player of the Year awards? Who do y'all have as far as that?
Shoot, man. Hopefully Clint get Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh well, let's see if Clint is even on the list. Let's get the
case in the playoffs, but yeah, hopefully Clint get that.
Let's see what we got. Let's see where we're at. All right, so they did the defensive.
Rudy Gobert, Ben Simmons.
How is Ben Simmons considered a defensive player? He seems like a
Clint Capella got the most odds, I guess you'll say, but he's at the bottom.
He would be the best bet. So that means if you betted on him, you would plus your winnings by way more than if you betted on Rudy Gobert to win.
Yeah, Ben Simmons. Let's see.
Yeah. You know what the most to me, I'm going to ask y'all this too. To me, the most astonishing player on this list is got to be Matisse Thybulle. I mean, he only played like 15, 20 minutes last year. How the hell is he even on?
He was on the All NBA team last season though.
Playing 20 minutes a game. That's how good he is.
Yeah, but that's that's the effect. I mean, he might play more depending on Ben's situation. I mean, they say he unreported now though, but is he playing?
Yeah, I don't know. So I think probably the worst bet in this would be Anthony Davis. I think he's too injury prone to win anything these years. I'm glad Clint Capella made it, but he had to be like the top 4 last year. For them to put him down here, I think that's disrespectful. So hopefully he's watching this and gets a little disrespect out of this. And then the 6th man of the year, who y'all got? Let's see what they got. Jordan Clarkson, Joe Ingles. Oh, look, our boy Kevin Huerter.
Kevin Huerter or Cam or something, but Kevin Huerter.
I might put a bill on that. I might call up Vegas and see what's up.
Only thing about it, Kevin Huerter liable to start half the damn season with the damn how our shit goes with injuries and shit.
Right, and then I don't even know who won Most Improved last year. Let's see, did Michael Porter Jr.
I would Julius Randle.
Okay, yep. But for this year, Most Improved, I think Jaren Jackson has a great chance. I think if Zach LaVine finally gets his team to the championships, I think he has a good chance to win this. They got John Collins on here. That man's got no chance of winning this. That's a bad deal.
Y'all think Chicago got too many offensive-minded players and not enough defense?
No. They got length on defense. They were stealing the ball left and right. You can't get the ball stuck in the corner on a swing and then try to swing it back up to the top because one of those boys are going to get their hands on it and it's going to start a fast break. I saw them play this. I'm telling you that team, if they gel fast, that team has a chance to be a problem. But I found out a really interesting stat, and that's about the superstar they brought in from San Antonio, DeMar DeRozan. He has been, God damn it, now I forgot what it was, but he has been the worst best player on any team. Like I'm gonna butcher this. I'm gonna have to go back and figure it out because I was listening to it a couple days ago and I thought it was just gonna pop up, but that shit didn't. But no, they gave me a stat on him that was just like he just doesn't win. Like, oh, that's what it was. Winning over other people, whatever that shit is, like the war, whatever they call that. Where he is the worst superstar for when he's on the floor. The teams do worst for 9 years.
Now he's like the 3rd player now in Chicago. He ain't got to be there no more.
Exactly, which is that's what I was gonna say. But what the deal was is they're saying that for the last 9 years, his team has performed worse when he's on the floor. And I found that to be pretty crazy. But this year, like you said, he doesn't have to be in control. He doesn't have to hold on to the ball because they got Lonzo Ball. He doesn't have to be the primary scorer because they got Zach LaVine. He can just do all the little things, and he's good at all the little things. And I think with Vujicic or the big man that they have, Patrick Williams, they got Kobe White now in a good situation where he's coming off the bench. They're a dangerous team, and they don't have to worry about having too many players. They know exactly who they're going to lean on. I don't know.
Got some ballers over there. It's gonna take a minute for them to get their chemistry right. But as far as having talent to go to battle every night, they got that.
Well, I guess let me ask you this: is it that done of a deal that the Brooklyn Nets are going to be the representative of the East? Because people act like they are.
The Brooklyn Nets won't win a championship with that collection of talent that they got. I'm trying to tell y'all, because anytime you got players that need the ball in their hands so much and are so ball dominant, just to be effective.
They were a size 18 away from advancing against the Milwaukee Bucks, right?
Let me
advancing in the playoffs, but not advancing to the finals. That style of play doesn't win championships. James Harden tried that shit. He was the best at doing that shit when he was in Houston, and didn't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? You got to have a team, dog, to win in the championship nowadays. I don't give a damn how good your talent is. They got to utilize each other so they won't be so. You know who the hell will get the ball. You know how to defend them. You know what I'm saying? It makes it easy to play basketball when you playing against a team like that.
Lou, let me tell you something. You want to know how good the Brooklyn Nets are when they full strength? Go look at the first two games when they played the Bucks in the playoffs on the road, and look how they blew them out by 220.
I don't know. I love Eddie, and I normally agree with Eddie. I don't know what he's thinking by saying that.
Them boys, listen. Then they almost still won with James Harden just out there, just participating.
And now they got LaMarcus Aldridge, and they brought in another Paul Millsap. Just good veterans. This is kind of like this reminds me of that Miami team.
Let me tell you something.
Old ass names.
Lou, watch this. If you good sport, right, a team sport, right. I'm gonna use Mike as an example. And if Mike play basketball, right? If he play with his homeboy who is good as him or better than him, guess what? They're going to make it work in order to win the game. I mean, it's not like, you know what's so funny, man? When people talk about them stars getting together, those stars been playing together since they was like kids. They've been playing together since AAU basketball. So, I mean, it's a reason why they always come together to team up. They team up. KD and Kyrie, if you go back and look, they was talking about teaming up way back.
Yeah,
it wasn't just something they just woke up one day and said, "Hey, let's play ball together." They've been planning that move, so I'm sure, Lou. It's just like this, Lou. You doing podcasts. If you want to do a collaboration with another podcaster, right? Guess what's going to happen? Y'all going to discuss things first before you start it. Mm-hmm. Hey, you're going to be in charge of this. I'm going to be in charge of that. This is how it's going to go down. So, I mean, people act like these dudes just wake up one morning and say, "Hey, guys, let's form a super team and just go play ball."
This is what I know, and I watched it in Miami, is that second year is your best chance to beat those teams. Because once they do get the continuity, once they get the secondhand understanding of where their teammates are going to be, these guys are higher level basketball players, and they're all playing on the same team. They will figure it out. And also it gives the team, the Nets, more time to accumulate the type of talent that they want around them. So now they have, the shooters and the bigs and the this and the that to go around these special talents. They're going to be a problem. I thought it was a done deal that everybody just assumed that they were going to represent the East. So Eddie says that they're not. So who is the biggest lock to represent the East?
I don't know if it's a lock, but I think we can beat Milwaukee. I think we could beat Brooklyn because I think Brooklyn weakness, obviously, like numerous super teams, is going to be their bench. Because sooner, if you can take advantage of that second unit when one of them boys come out, then you can beat them. And I think we're set up to beat up almost every team because we're so deep with talent. So if you think about it, you look at our games last year, bro. Sometimes Nate McMillan was subbing 4 dudes at a time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? He putting 4 fresh bodies out there who are skilled and good players. So I think,
but it goes deeper than that, though, Demond. You got to look deeper than that when you're talking about having talent. Every team in the league got talent. It's about having talent that you use the right way. You know what I'm saying? Just because KD and Kyrie got the other say, listen, we're gonna play basketball together. We're gonna get on this team. We're gonna create this team. We're gonna have success. You can talk about that shit and do it all day, but if you don't get together and get it in your mind, listen, we're gonna utilize each other to the point where me having the ball, utilizing you off the pick, using you in the pick and roll, us, playing together as a team. If y'all don't have that mindset, I don't give a damn what you're talking about. You're not going to win in this league because you got to have a team game.
But I'm telling you, Eddie, that the Brooklyn Nets already showed they can do it. They go watch the playoffs.
They haven't done a damn thing. They haven't. Anybody can win a couple games in the playoffs. That's not proving nothing.
That's why I said
even Chicago Bulls. When the Chicago Bulls played, Chicago Bulls had the best player in the league, but they still played a team game when they played with the triangle. Everybody touched the ball. The bigs touched the ball. Jordan touched the ball. Scottie Pippen touched the ball. They swung that ball around that perimeter and worked that ball around till they got the best shot because of the fact they had the style of play they played was that was the linchpin to their championship run. It wasn't the talent that they had. It was the triangle. You heard people talk about that triangle all the time whenever Bill Jackson was coaching. You heard? Come on, man! If you was paying attention, everybody talk about how potent that triangle was, and them boys. They listen. Let me finish talking. Let me finish my point.
Go ahead.
They listen. They took that triangle. They took that shit to another level because they understood what they was trying to do.
The talent,
just like when Nate came.
That's talent.
When Nate started coaching us, he put different motions in our offense, and offense that was already predicated on everybody touching the ball and everybody being involved. Swinging the ball around, getting the.
You said Nate McMillan didn't
do that. God damn, can I finish? I'm saying this. I'm saying if whatever offense you run needs to be predicated on everybody being able to be involved, not that ISO ball shit. Name in the last 20 years, whatever team won a championship, whenever they predominantly ran an ISO ball offense.
That's not gonna happen.
Who ran ISO?
Just like Brooklyn dudes when he got one guy coming down, dominating the ball.
They don't
run an
ISO defense. I mean offense, Eddie. That's why I said go
predominantly
watch
what
the
they
Nets. That's why I said
that's predominantly what they do.
That's why I said
name one offense.
Okay, watch this, Eddie. Let me say something real quick. Your point about the triangle, you do have to have the talent to run the triangle. How do we know this? Because Phil Jackson tried to take the triangle to the Knicks, and what happened up there? You didn't get nothing out. You didn't get no championship out of there running that triangle up there because they didn't have the talent. They didn't have the players.
It's got to be a fit too, right? I mean, like Luke Longley, you wouldn't assume him to be the best player,
but the triangle, Luke, it's a thinking game. You have to know. You have to know where people's going to be. You have to know when you get the ball, you have to know what are your options. What options are available within the triangle when the ball swings to you. You have to know that. And if you don't think the game, guess what? You can't run the triangle. So somebody explain to me, why did the triangle work in LA with the Lakers? It worked in Chicago, but didn't work in New York with Carmelo Anthony. Why didn't it work up there?
Because Carmelo Anthony didn't have.
But it's not just. I just said Carmelo name just to say that they had a superstar up there.
Yeah. But you have to have I think the triangle is predicated. I mean, whether you're working a triangle defensively or whether you're working a triangle offensively, it's going to create the tight level of spacing that's needed to to be effective in moving the ball. But it's predicated on post play, and post play was not available with the Knicks.
Thinking. You have to know what's available. What are your options? That's why you just can't That's why you just can't take 5 randoms and run the triangle.
No,
I won a championship in college as a freshman. What you mean? You think he can't think?
Hey Lou. Who runs the triangle right now in the NBA?
I wouldn't say anybody does.
Exactly. Because it's easier for guys just to shoot the ball.
Well, no, because it was a different era. But hold on, it was a different era back then too, because 3-point shooting wasn't. It wasn't. They hadn't done the analytics enough to just say, "Hey, jack up the ball." Mike D'Antoni hadn't come into the league and just said, "Hey, shoot the damn ball." from three because we're just going to make up for it in later. I think a triangle team is a team that would just run 5 or 6 deep and it also plays good defense. Like it's hard to run to consider the triangle an offense in today's NBA. It bogs it down too much. But my question is for Eddie and for Eddie and Damon is when the Nets were trying to score possession, did they run movement or did they run isolation? Because I would assume that they ran isolation.
They ran a little movement before the clock got down to about 12, 13 seconds. Then one of the big dogs got the ball, took a motherfucker off the dribble. Either KD, but that's when you got KD with the ball in his hand, you can't hardly argue with him getting his shot because he's one of the best scorers ever to play the game.
So you argue with James Harden having the ball or Kyrie having the ball?
Nah, but what I'm saying is this: whenever you're going deeper into the playoffs, you can't beat good teams with the ISO ball shit because they're gonna have better defenders. They're gonna have, and if you ain't on,
so you telling me?
She gonna let me finish saying what? God damn, man.
So you telling me, bro? You cut me off all the time.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead, dog.
All I'm saying is this, Eddie. You saying all that, but I'm giving you examples.
Damn.
I'm giving you examples. Don't call God now. Listen to me. I'm giving you examples. You talking about better defenders. They was blowing out the freaking NBA champions by 20 on their own floor. Why is that? Why was they beating the Bucks? The Bucks were the one a game.
Because it was on. But at the end of the day,
on.
Listen, at the end of the day, I don't give a damn what you talk about. You got to overcome whatever the hell it is that you got to overcome to win what you got to win in the playoffs. Every team got injuries. Every team got issues. You know what I'm saying? You still got to help the KD out there. You still got Harden playing. He out there. Bogey was hurt for us, but he was still out there giving us shit. You know what I'm saying?
He won't hurt like Harden.
I ain't got no sympathy. How the hell you know?
Because Harden wasn't even supposed to play.
A hamstring is tough. A hamstring is tough.
Exactly.
But Bogey,
have you pulled a hamstring?
Being hurt and having James Harden with a hamstring is on the same level. James
no,
Harden,
it's not, bro. Because James Harden.
Come on, man.
Hold on, guys. I haven't heard from Mike in a while. He just giggled. What, Mike? What are you thinking about all this?
Man, it's a whole bunch of back and forth over, I don't know, simple stuff or whatever, man. I mean,
such as
I don't know. The system versus talent, I mean, it goes together. I mean, you can have a great coaching system all you want to, but if you ain't got no talent, you ain't gonna win nothing. So of course the triangle worked because it had talent and it was a good system. And it was a 90s and whatever type system. It just people don't do that these days. It's more motion and open court space offense now or whatever, I mean, you just know it's pace and space. That's what they all coach now. So that's why you'll see most teams doing high pick and roll and stuff like that. I mean, so and then I understand the isolation basketball, but at the same time, all teams to an extent fall back on isolation basketball when it comes to having to get a bucket. You playing good defense or whatever. Yeah, at the end, it comes back around to your star.
That's why we love Trey, right?
Yeah,
that's why we love Trey, because Trey can be isolated or picked for, and he gets us a bucket.
Yeah, exactly.
More times than not, Trey gonna make the correct basketball. More times than not, Trey gonna make the correct basketball. He gonna make the correct basketball decision. He gonna get the ball to the open man. He gonna drive. He gonna throw a loop with the man over. If the defender come over on him, he gonna throw a loop. He gonna get everybody involved. That's why Trey is so hard to defend. Ain't because he gonna shoot all the shot. It's because he gonna use his influence on. He gonna use his influence on the court to get whoever open and make it easy for everybody else. That's what a superstar's supposed to do.
So I guess
make it easy for everybody else.
So you forgot that James Harden averaged almost 30 and 10 also, right? He can pass the ball too,
What has he won with it?
What has Trey won?
What the fuck has he won with it?
Well, hold on. Y'all bring up two guys. That actually has a big intrigue for me this season. And that's James Harden and Trey Young, who have a propensity to initiate contact. And we've seen James Harden try to play this preseason, and it's a little different. He's not getting a lot of those calls. Do you think that's going to affect James Harden? A, do you think that's going to affect Trey Young? B, and who do you think is going to be affected the most?
You saw what they did to Steph Curry, right? He tried
I
that.
seen it temporarily.
He tried that fake three.
I've seen it on James Harden too. Yeah, I've seen them all.
Jump into the three and jump into the defender. The ref was like, "Nah, not today."
Exactly. It's going to be an interesting year this year when it comes to that, and how long it takes them to adapt to that, because that's a bag. That's a trick in the bag.
You also got to remember, Trae Young and Harden, they can score the ball. They can shoot the ball. They don't need to initiate contact. But what I think they did was they take advantage of the rules. It's just like playing a video game. You take advantage. You don't play like Madden and 2K and FIFA. You don't play it like in real life. You exploit the game mechanics. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
it's a fair point.
So if Trae Young can dribble the ball and he's like, "Oh, the ref gonna call the foul every time this dude touch me," you keep doing it.
Why not?
But Trae Young has shown, bro, you don't average 25. What did he average last year? Almost 30 and 10. You don't do that off of gimmicks. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that. But some habits are going to be hard to break, and I think after 20 years or 30 years of doing that, it might, or I guess in Harden's 20 years, but it's going to be difficult at times when they need a bucket that they might accidentally do that, and then they lose the ball. It's going to have an effect.
Well, hey, let me quote Mike. When Trae would do that, get past the defender, slow down, and the dude run into him. In the words of Mike, it's a foul. I mean, ain't that what Mike said? Mike be like, it's a foul.
But this the thing. Why is Trae at fault when the defender can't slow down whenever he behind Trae? He run into the back of Trae. He didn't got past him, blow past him. The man trying to make up the ground. Trae stopped on the dime to take the shot, and the man run right into the back of him.
I think that's going to be I think that's going to be a harder. I think that's going to be a harder one for them to. I think that's really going to be a harder one for them to referee, is the one that you just described. Okay, I think the obvious one that's going to happen, that's going to have the biggest effect first, is the pump fake and then jump towards them or into them. I think that's going to be the play that's going to basically be zoned out, which I don't mind. They were talking.
Well, a lot of people use that move to bail themselves out anyway. My bad, Chauncey. Go ahead. Go ahead, Chauncey.
How you know?
Yeah.
You can talk or log off. One of
Hold on real quick.
Easy to store that one for later.
Hey, mute him, Lou.
He muting himself.
Because he about to say something to me. Go on, mute him.
No, man. all that trailing defense shit. That's to combat that trailing defense shit. These lazy motherfuckers out here, these lazy individuals out here don't want to play no real defense. They want to do that trail defense, funnel the guy to the shot blocker. So guess what? They done came up with something to combat that. And as far as the other fouls that Trae and Harden be drawing, maybe if these guys get the call that they supposed to get when they go to the hole and damn they get knocked in the third row, then they won't try. Then they'll probably cut down on the bullshit part of it. But I do kind of agree with Mike. A foul is a fucking foul. Listen, if I'm dribbling and I stop, I got a fucking right to stop. So if you run up my ass, it's a foul. Play defense. Move your feet.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be.
Or he gay if you run up in the booty like that.
Yeah, I personally think they still gonna call that foul, man. I don't. When I read the rules and what they're looking for, I don't think they necessarily like meaning per se that or whatever. They, you know what I'm saying? It's like the ones that you're talking about when they leaning into it, you pump fake. The guy obviously goes straight up and down, but you lean into him. Straight, a lot of times they don't lean. He just literally stop on the dime and they run up his back. Like you have to call it.
Don't y'all know the irony? Don't y'all know the irony of how all of a sudden now they want to crack down on that? Now that our guy has mastered it, you see how crazy that shit is. Our guys mastered it. Right now, we're a threat to win the NBA title because I think we're a legitimate threat to win the NBA title. Now all of a sudden, you want to circumvent the rules for one of the smallest motherfuckers in the league. Go figure.
That reminds me of one of the posts in New Pack City where somebody was right after that crazy ass John Collins dunk on Jared Allen, where they were like, I guess they're gonna have to ban dunking on folks next because, and that's kind of what it feels like when you're a Hawks fan. But I'm putting that shit behind us this year. This is a new year, new team. I think
I don't feel like it. Maybe because Trey haven't played this preseason, but I don't really feel like when I first saw the rules, I didn't feel like it was target Trey Young. Like all the comments that you saw on social media, they were like Harden, Trey Young, Harden, Trey Young. But like you saw, Steph got caught with it. LeBron does the leg kick a lot too himself or whatever. A lot of these players leg kick on their fadeaways and stuff like that, man. Zach LaVine do it. DeMar DeRozan do it. Kyle Lowry draw a lot of BS fouls or whatnot that they probably talking about. I mean, Luka leaning into folks all the time too or whatever. It's a lot of players who do it. Like I said, the foul that I think that Trey's going to have to get used to not getting, that Trey kind of gets or whatever, is not that stop on or whatever when people come his back, but it's when he is driving. Trey initiate contact like every single time. When he drive, Trey put his shoulder into folks completely to try and get his layup off or whatever. And I think that's where he probably have to adjust that, because I can see him not getting those foul calls, and I can see Trey basically, in a sense, it's being a bad play for us because he tried doing that or whatever, and he didn't get a call, and his shot gets swatted, or it's a bad shot or whatever. He's not getting free throws for it. So,
and it's interesting because it's not an automatic call. Hold on, Chauncey, I'll let you start, but it's not an automatic call. It's up to the discretion of the ref to whether it's an offensive foul or a no call, which is interesting because then the ball just is a live ball.
Yeah, my bad. Go ahead, Chauncey.
What Trey gonna have to? What I feel like Trey gonna get hit with a lot is when he coming off that screen, he wait for the dude to run off that screen, and then he lean back into him. I think they're gonna bust his ass for that a lot, because a lot of times Trey got the call, and sometimes Trey didn't even get touched. I'm like shaking my head. I'm like, God damn. But I mean, I'll take it. A fan, I'll take it, because I'm like, it just makes up for all the times went to the hole and got knocked in the third row, and the ref sucked on his, the ref swallowed his whistle. I got to censor myself. I done got put in Facebook jail for 72 hours.
Well, I was going to ask you about that actually. Why don't you go on and tell us what happened? What happened was
I made a post about John Gruden, and I kind of correlated John Gruden to a certain group of folks who don't like the quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. And I said, yeah, for all you MFers out here, pretty much I said in no uncertain terms, all y'all motherfuckers with opinion on John Gruden, but you hate Matt Ryan. And I was talking about black folks who hate Matt Ryan. And then, I did it in two groups, and the conversations got heated. And one dude came at me sideways, and all I said was, "Oh man, you don't went full scale bitch on me." I didn't even spell out the word bitch. I underscored the I. I underscored the I, but they said I was bullying, and I'm like shit, that one ain't bullying. I said shit, if I'm gonna get 72 hours, I should have went ahead on and just told him
everything you wanted to say.
I ain't even bully the dude, but he probably got he probably got caught up in his emotions, and he probably told. I don't know. I don't give a shit. I mean, I went 40 years. I'm 52 years old. I've been on Facebook for 12 years. I don't even use Instagram. I got an Instagram account. And hey, I mean, it is what it is. Hey, if I'm no longer on Facebook, I'm cool. I'm straight. Hell, I don't been all y'all.
You might be cool, but I would be very sad, because I definitely enjoy your posts and your comments and your banter and your lives.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I wouldn't miss it or miss her, but now here's the thing: Zuckerberg, he all tight ass because he fucked up, and he took a $2 billion loss. His net worth dropped $2 billion. Ain't my fault, Zuck. Ain't my fault that it ain't my fault. Y'all get this to Zuck. It ain't my fault that y'all sit up here, y'all promote all this goddamn child pornography and all this, have all these old Facebook lives with motherfuckers getting killed on Facebook Live. Ain't my fault, Zuck.
Hey, he ain't wrong.
Listen, man, it's 6:00. I got to go, man. I'm gonna get
what's your last word?
Well,
What's your last words? How do you feel that the Hawks are going to do this season?
I want us to finish the season healthy, man. The best ability is availability. Y'all gonna keep hearing me say that. I've been saying that for years. Best ability is availability. Right now, the ceiling for this team, to me, the ceiling is to win the NBA title. Period.
And how long is your window open?
I think our window is open very long because, hell, we got a lot of guys haven't even reached their peak yet, and we still extremely young. And then the 2 or 3 veterans we got, they seem to be done bought in. Capella has bought in. Gallo has bought in. Bogey has bought in. Lou Williams, this is going to be his last stop. You know, he stay here. We got a guy in like DeLon Wright. Don't know how much he done bought in. We got Gorgie Dane. Don't know how much he done bought in. So we got good youth. We got a good mixture of youth and veterans. Hey, we got our coach locked in. Health, man. The best ability is availability. Let's keep these boys healthy. I don't give a shit about not winning a preseason game. Well, we already won one, but I really don't care. I really don't. I mean, I get why they have to play. I understand totally. It's a rhythm. It's a rhythm and timing thing. I get all of that. But, hey, I'd rather go into the season where the rhythm and timing is a little bit off. We may drop a couple of games, and the fan base going to go ape shit, rather than somebody to go out there going hard, trying to win a damn buzzer beater, and you rip a hammy, tear an Achilles, tear three ligaments in your knee. We don't need that. And that's it. That's all I got.
All right, man. Well, if you want to enjoy Chauncey's lives, he goes live on New Pack City. He goes live on his own page. Got to wait a couple of days, but I'm sure when the Braves kick back off or the Falcons do something dumb, he'll be on there bitching about it. So make sure to check that out.
When is game 1 of the NLCS?
I think like Friday or Saturday. I'm not sure. I can look it up though.
Well, it can't be Friday because a game. I know game five of the NLDS with LA and Frisco is tomorrow, so it can't be Friday. And I would doubt if it be Saturday. So okay.
So here it
I don't
is.
know.
So here it is. It says the Atlanta Braves have advanced. It says that they will. All right, here we go. Sign up. All right. Here's the schedule. Times will be announced. Game 1 Saturday at San Francisco or Atlanta, depending on who wins.
Okay.
So Saturday, it looks like.
All right, but there it is. All right, man. I'm gonna holler at y'all. Lou, I'm out. Mike,
All right.
holler at you.
All
Jamaal.
right. Hold it down.
Well, do y'all have any takes on how this season's gonna play out?
Oh man, I guess real quick before I jump out myself, I guess my last take of the season, just back to the playoffs, top 4 in the East, home court advantage, and at least in the first round. That's where I'm gonna start at. Of course, the fan in me want to see a lot more though, but just to, keep it on a realistic level. That's my starting expectations is I'm trying to finish top 4 in the East, get that home court advantage at least for the first round. Ideally, we can have it a lot more than that. That'd be great. I mean, it'd be great to be number 1 in the East or something like that, or the best record in the league, and have a home court throughout the whole thing. Have a finals or whatever, first time in Atlanta, but home court in Atlanta, that would be awesome. That'd be great idea. But like I said though, for as tomorrow goes, tomorrow Thursday, last preseason game. Like Chauncey said, and everybody already said, is that, want to see us stay healthy. But I would like to see the starters play if Clint can go. I want to see Clint get a few minutes out there because I like to see the defense and everything with Clint anchoring it, see everything, moving and stuff like that. And, of course, continue watching Cam Reddish. I think he's the one that benefit from, preseason still or whatnot. And I think Nate McMillan already said that he want to see, as much as he can of Cam Reddish, see a lot of Cam. So I want to see Cam continue to get his confidence together. Hopefully, hopefully attack the basket a little bit better. I want to see him getting better at that. I'm still nervous when he drives the ball. So
yeah, and can I ask you one more question? After the preseason, What is your opinion of DeLone Wright and Zhang? Is it too early to tell, or are they exactly what you thought they were? Are they as advertised? Is it something that you're worried about?
It's combination of too early to tell and what I thought. I mean, DeLon ain't too much played a whole lot. I think he got to kind of get a feel of things a little bit before having the ball in his hand and basically being in charge of distribution and getting the team into offense. So it's a little bit. I think it'll take a little longer with him, and it sucks that he hasn't really been able to play throughout every game or whatnot though. But with Jang or whatnot, I mean, it's pretty much what I expect. I mean, he'll have a impact here and there from time to time. The thing is just consistency. So I'm not really going to expect that from him.
Gotcha. Well, I think God told him that was his last. I think that was his comment there. So we'll go ahead and pull him off. And then I guess we can kind of get into a little more tougher of a discussion if y'all want to about this Gruden thing. What's y'all's take on John Gruden not being fired for calling DeMarcus or making a comment about his lips or anything like that, but then was being fired for calling the F word to Goodell. What y'all's feelings on that? I this is not my fight because I'm not gay or black, but what do y'all think?
It's the same old mess. It ain't nothing new, man. You know what I'm saying? And then the boy Stephen A. Smith, he just doubled down on what you just said. So it's just like, man, I guess you could say like black people, we're so conditioned on not being able to stick up for ourselves, demand stuff for ourselves, that we actually let a lot of stuff slide that we shouldn't, and Dave Chappelle,
like the Tulsa massacre.
Say again.
like they shouldn't have let the Tulsa massacre when y'all had y'all's own Wall Street and doing y'all's own shit. It's like what they've wanted to stop y'all from doing is always owning y'all's own things. It's always as long as you're
obviously back then we didn't have a choice. We didn't have we really wasn't free back then. You know what I'm saying? But this the deal. Until we start standing up for ourselves, demanding stuff for ourselves, other groups will not take they don't take us serious. Why you think the owner of the Raiders he had that email Friday and he waited because he thought it was gonna blow over.
Mm-hmm.
He thought it was gonna blow over. Like, you know what? We just gonna let this blow over about what he said about DeMaurice Smith and blah 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 blah. But as soon as the gay stuff come out, it hits the fan. You see? So until we as black people start demanding stuff for ourselves and respecting ourselves as a group together, how can we expect other groups to respect us? Because they know we're not gonna do nothing. You know what I'm saying?
That was the lamest shit I ever heard in my life when it comes to explaining why in the fuck people in America expect black people to accept being disrespected by them or people that look like them. They trying to actually program us to accept it and be cool with it in the face of it. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like, okay, y'all paying the same amount of taxes as us. You know what I'm saying? You got families to raise just like us. You got goals. You got everything ahead of you. You got your whole future ahead of you. But if a person comes out and says, uses racial, any kind of racial epithets that makes you feel a certain kind of way, you don't have the right as a black man or a black woman or a black child to feel a certain type of way about that. But most of that shit comes from people that sympathize with white people. You know what I'm saying? These people actually champion the shit that white people put black people through. Just like Jamaal just said, he just said some shit. I hear a lot of black people say that shit. A lot of everybody say this shit. We got to act a certain kind of way for them to respect us or to treat again. if they didn't think we were serious about the shit that we do, and if they ain't really feared the shit that we were doing, it wouldn't have never burned down Tulsa. It wouldn't have never came down there and destroyed that motherfucker, because they would have sit back like, they ain't doing shit over there. Fuck, I'm worried about them for. Somebody that ain't worried about you ain't coming to destroy your shit. You know what I'm saying? People that ain't worried about you ain't setting Jim Crow laws ahead of you to try to keep you knocked down. People that ain't worried about you ain't establishing redlining in the banks to keep you from buying good land, keep you from doing shit that's gonna help you create generational wealth. They ain't gonna create the black codes. They ain't taking the soldiers, all these soldiers that went and fought in World War I and World War II that was black. When they came back, they took all their fucking benefits. People that ain't worried about you ain't mistreating you like that, because they confident in what the fuck they doing and what they got going on. So they feel in their mind, I can treat you in a fair way, but my ability to do what the hell I'm gonna do gonna keep me in the position that I'm in. You know what I'm saying? But people that's worried about you and people that fear you on a real level, they gonna do every fucking thing they can, including trying to mental program you to accept bigotry and to accept people treating and talking to your people any kind of motherfucking way. And they gonna look at you as like you in the wrong. I'd heard more people say that black people's in the wrong for the shit that Gruden did. Soon as somebody say how you feel about Gruden, they go to talk about Obama. They go to talk about people looting because a black person got unjustly killed by police. They go to talking about shit that ain't got nothing to do with John Gruden. They never get to the point. See, they want to talk about the reaction that black people have, but they never want to talk about the action that caused the reaction.
Right. Well, one of the things I did want to ask was, does the comments that were made by Gruden, does it make him a racist? And does the comments that he made that were insensitive by using slurs towards Goodell that were offensive to the LGBTQ plus ABCD community?
I'm gonna tell you what my dad used to tell me all the time, Lou. I don't give a damn who you are in my face. You are to me who you are when my back is turned. Whenever John Gruden thought when nobody looking, when he thought he had autonomy to do whatever and say whatever the fuck he wanted to, when he thought he could put these thoughts down and nobody wasn't gonna never find out, this is the person the person in them emails is who he really is. Right.
Which is a misogynist, which is someone who's very insensitive.
A fucking racist.
But
everything
now,
you can think of.
But here's the thing.
Everything he portrayed on them emails is who he is.
Right. But my question is, you think that Gruden is a racist because he said something about DeMarcus's lips and all that? Because
it's the racial way he went about it, dog. Come on, man. Ain't nobody. We all been around this motherfucker a long time. Every time a white person says some shit about a black person, they're gonna say something about our features. They're gonna say something about welfare. They're gonna say something. It's certain ways, certain code words that they got.
Right, but that doesn't necessarily.
Ain't no buts. It is what it is. Ain't no buts in it. Ain't no buts. It is what it is.
Lou, it come down when you. I see what you're saying, Lou. It comes down to you have to know the person.
Right. I don't feel like I know the person.
If I got a white homeboy, right, and I know him, we grew up together, and he says something like, "Hey man, old girl got some big ass lips." Now, a person who don't know him gonna be like, "Oh hell no." But if I know him and I know his intentions, then maybe me as his homie don't see it that way. You know what I'm saying? It's all about, do you know the person? How's it taken?
But that's kind of where I was going with it. Yeah, it's like, do the words that he says when he was upset, does that make his actions who he has been a racist? And the thing is, like, I don't care for John Gruden because he was a Tampa Bay coach, so I don't know a lot about him.
Well, John Gruden, in these times, man, anything you say, when you're in a public position, you walk a very thin line. And I'm not just even talking about just saying anything about blacks. I mean, look what they did to the baby. I mean, Caston said that line tons of times. You know what I'm saying? Or thought that. And look what they did to him. So you walk a very thin line when, one, you in a position of power as a head coach is, if you are, or a CEO. if you're an entertainer and you know you depend on fans to support your stuff. So it's hard for somebody in a public light to actually say what's on their mind because you're gonna get classified regardless. If they don't know you,
I agree with that.
If they don't know you, and it's just like you, right? You're a Puerto Rican, but somebody who don't know you could be like, "Oh, look at this white boy."
Exactly. I get that.
And you could say something, right? Something, and somebody could take it the wrong way. Be like, "Why this white boy saying A, B, C, and D?" You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's all about if you know me personally, me knowing how America operates. You know, I'm done with like name calling, that stuff like that. It don't bother me no more because
me too. That's where I'm at.
I understand in America that name calling don't
sticks and stones, right?
It doesn't do nothing to me anymore because
white people don't have any power over black people today. Like you can go out and do your own shit. To me, racism. Yes, they do
because they control all the
power to white people.
Because Lou, they control all the finances, so they do have power. Because remember, in America, money is power. Without money in America, you can't do nothing. Why do you think
LeBron for not putting back into the country?
Why you think black people? Why you think we don't own nothing as a whole compared to the other groups? You know what I'm saying? It's not because
this is where I get into my conspiracy shit that I don't want to do on the show. But
it's not because black people not trying to get up and go get it. It's because a majority of black people, we start off in a way worse financial position than any other group. Yes. So it's hard for you to tell a young black kid to focus on school when he go home, he don't know if he gonna eat tonight.
Right.
So you see what I'm saying? That's why you'll see me.
I totally do.
Because
a lot of times I grew up. It's always been a conspiracy to hold black people down, man.
You'll hear me say,
that's call it what it is. It's a fucking conspiracy about the whole country.
Listen,
you'll hear me say a lot of times when people start talking about black issues, I'd be like, 90% of our problems is economic. Because guess what? If you look at all the black people who live in the suburbs, who grew up in the suburbs, you don't have much crime. You don't have a reason to join a gang. See, when you're in a low income area, you don't have no father figure. Your mom is never home because she got to work 5 jobs. Guess what? Now you as a young man or a young woman is like, how can I help my mama out right now? Not 10 years from now. Because guess what? I might not be here 10 years from now. How can I help my mama and myself out right now? And the easiest way when you're in a low income area is to try to hustle. You see,
right? And like he said, you know, the conspiracy set up is that the CIA went down there and did some nasty shit to South America, but you know, they definitely fucked some shit up, took their drugs and brought them into America and dropped them into the inner cities to then push the people out of the inner cities, devalue it, and then they came in and bought them all up. I mean, this is all documented now. This is not the 90s where we're speculating.
That's just recent. If you go back with Richard Nixon and you go look up, and this is on what Eddie was saying about a conspiracy. This is not a conspiracy. This is fact. Exactly. If you get on your computer right now and you look up benign neglect, okay? Richard Nixon, member on his staff, typed up a letter and told him this is how the number one enemy to white people is black people. It's right there. You can read it.
Right there.
And
it's always been that way.
It's a conspiracy to keep us down. That's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying.
I mean, excuse me. And that's why, Luke, that's why you once I read that, probably about 5 years ago, that's why you'll never hear me say people of color. That's why you never hear me say black and brown. Because in that benign neglect letter, it describes on how they can trick black people that they're addressing our needs.
Exactly.
When in reality, they're not doing nothing. That's
exactly.
But see, at the same time, the money is behind. Let me say something right quick, man. Because that's the same shit. See, now you know better, Demar. And I see you on your page a lot of the time say, you're always talking about, wow, black people, we last in this, we last in that. But you understand what the fuck been put in front of us to keep us in that position. It ain't cause we fucking lazy. Hold on, let me finish talking.
I just said that.
Let me finish talking. It ain't cause we fucking lazy. It's because the whole country that we in has fucking conspired to keep in a fucking position
That's
at
what
the
I
bottom.
said,
Hold on,
Eddie.
let me finish talking, dog.
But that's what I said. You talking to me like I just didn't say that. I just said
No,
that.
but what I'm saying is, but you will put on your page like black people are at the bottom because we just ain't fucking trying to get out there, motherfucker.
I never
That
said
ain't the case.
So hold on,
That's
even if
how you sound when you talk
that's a
about
good
it.
challenge.
Eddie, I've never ever said
But that's
that.
how it sounds when you talk about it.
I've
You
never
ain't,
said
whenever
that.
you say, okay,
no.
if I
What
say,
I
if
say
I
is
say on my
this.
page,
Hold on,
if I say on my page, black
people,
people, if I say on my page, black people are at the bottom, I'm gonna give a reason for why the fuck that's happening. I ain't gonna just say black people are at the bottom just simply because. No, it's because for one, since the beginning of motherfucking time, shit's been happening to us by the government that's been law. Shit, the people that actually do as law. You know what I'm saying? And not getting no trouble for it. To keep us at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is, but listen, whenever you go to talking about shit like, you know what I'm saying, the shit that happened back in the day, or redlining, all the shit that's happening to have the black people to keep us at this position, you got to explain it all. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you say certain shit like that, because see, the one thing, are you talking to a man that grew up on 100 fucking acre estate that my grandfather left my father? So anytime I hear you say some shit like black people, we don't own shit, that's a motherfucking lie.
As
but
a
you
whole,
say this, hold on,
Eddie,
let me finish saying no, let me talk. Let me talk from my perspective. You talking from your perspective, I'm talking from my perspective. My whole family got acres that my granddaddy left us.
Okay.
And the whole fucking family. He had 7 kids. They all had 10 acres or better.
Okay.
We all stayed on the same plot of land. We all grew up and grew our own shit. You know what I'm saying? We didn't need white people for nothing. We didn't need it for. He left us a house with that motherfucker. From the time my mother and my daddy got married, they never had a motherfucking bill as far as paying a mortgage or anything like that. They stayed in that motherfucking house. We built ourselves up. You know what I'm saying? We built another house on another road, bought some more land. And you know what I'm saying? We kept the ball rolling the way my grandfather wanted us to do it. You know what I'm saying? And this family's around my neighborhood. Listen, I came from a neighborhood called Millville, the Millville community. It's about 600-700 families in that community. Every one of them are black. Every one of them live on at least 2 acres or better. Every one of them they professionals, teachers, supervisors in companies. They own their own businesses, probably doing construction, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? That's all I grew up around.
Okay.
That's all I saw. Hold on. Let me finish talking.
Okay.
Let me finish talking, bro.
Sure.
So whenever I hear black people saying shit like what black people ain't doing, what they ain't got, motherfucker, that's a lie. It's plenty of communities of black people around here that's like that. They just ain't on social media putting it out there because they just locked and loaded trying to make that shit happen. They ain't trying to talk to motherfuckers and make them believe it. You know what I'm saying? Because they going about what they doing is going about their daily routine, making shit work. You know what I'm saying? And trying to put it down for the next generation.
And you agree how your father did it was good, right? You agree how your grandfather did it was good, right?
Right. It's how it's supposed to go down.
So Damon telling people and pointing that out that they need to get to that level again, that's not a bad thing. So him calling it out, maybe saying it wrong, but saying that we don't ever own anything.
He's saying that black people ain't got.
But he's making the same point, though. He's making the same modern point.
If you ain't explaining why we last, you ain't explaining the point.
But all
you doing is making a sweeping generalization, and you know how people think. Hello, you know how people think in America. People in America gonna think. So when you say some shit like black people are last, immediately they gonna say because black people are lazy, black people on welfare. The same old trope that white people say. They gonna believe the same old shit. It's about programming.
How do we address the fact? How do we address the fact that
programming is a dangerous tool? Whenever you got black people start repeating the same shit white people saying.
I agree, but let me ask you this, because the major point between this Gruden thing to me is that the LGBT community has more backing from the banks and the corporations that create this country, the laws that y'all have just shat on for 300 years. The same institutions are now fully behind the LGBTQ community, to where if they say anything, people get shut the fuck down. But they have that same power for all this time to do it for black people, and they never do it. Why? Because that involves justice reform, and the LGBTQ, all they need is a fucking flag that they can sell or a fucking TikTok they can go on to talk about it. They just want to be able to talk about it. It's not the same fight. And the shitty people that are the things that y'all are talking about, they have basically just swapped over this real fight, this real civil liberty fight. That the black fight is the poor fight, is the human fight, right? It's oppression.
But also,
LGBTQ ain't that.
A lot of those banks Guess who's in charge of some of the things, Lou? Gays. See, we don't have black people up there in those positions. Now, let me address what Eddie was saying. I've never sat there and said black people need to get up and go get it. I've never said that. I know why we dead last, why we don't own stuff, why we dead last economically, why we don't own. How come it's not thousands of people like your granddaddy leaving land? How come it's not thousands?
How the fuck do you know it's not? How do you know it's not? How do you know it's not?
Hold on.
Before you just make a sweep of it, hold on. Before you say it's not, prove that it's not. Hold on, prove that it's not. Don't just because you say some shit. See, you're gonna say everything negative that you think about black people. Without even thinking about it. Hold on. Without even thinking about it. You ain't got no proof of it. But
Eddie,
but your thing is, I'm just gonna blurt some shit out negative about black people. And we're supposed to just be cool with that shit.
It's not negative.
Programming shit I'm talking about right there, man. If you gonna come with the bullshit, no, you can't say those shit like that against black people. I ain't gonna allow that. I ain't gonna allow that shit. I got more pride of mine than that. I know different than that. No, nigga. No, nigga. You on some other shit.
Hold on. Let me retort.
Now, for the proof that you want, the research for reparations has already been done by Dr. Sandy.
This ain't got shit to do with reparations.
Let me finish.
We're talking about it got nothing to do with reparations.
Let me finish.
It got shit to do with reparations.
Eddie, let me finish. The research has been done by Dr. Sandy Darity. In that research, he had to prove why did black people, besides what the government told us, why do black people need reparations? So he went and he pulled up, he got all the stats, all the numbers. Black people, this is a fact, you can look it up. When it comes to economics and owning things like land, we are dead last. He's done all the legwork. Who is Dr. Sandy Darity? He is.
I know who that is. I know who Sandy Darity is. I know exactly who he is. I know who he is.
Give you some books.
I probably know about him better than you do.
Let me give you some books to read.
Look, man, you can't educate me on shit. How you talking? You can't educate me on a motherfucking thing, brother. Listen, you can't educate me on nothing, brother.
Have you read this? Dr. Claude Anderson. Have you read this? Let
me ask you a question. Let me ask you this question then.
Have you read this?
Let me ask you this question. Fuck them books.
Tell
me how.
What
happened to a lot of the land that black people had?
Say again?
A lot of black people accumulated a whole lot of land right after the 1900s. Right around the same time the tussle was going on. Black people was hoarding land. Hold on. Tell me how a lot of the land got
away. Huh? It got taken away.
By who?
By white.
No, by government.
By the motherfucking government. By the government. Building roads. They building highways through black neighborhoods and taking our land from them.
And poor white people. I think y'all are losing. I think y'all are missing a golden opportunity to reunite.
What I'm saying, we're talking about. We can talk about that, but we're talking about we addressing black people and the plight of black people.
Let me ask you a question because this is my thing that I think that they're poisoning you with, Eddie, specifically is does Gruden, hold on. Does Gruden having that terrible line on DeMarco when he's mad at him, does that make him an enemy to black people? Because the level of
listen, that ain't even the part that really I don't like that he said. The part that he said that I don't like that he said is when he came out against black people that was protesting the police brutality. The football players, whatever, Kaepernick and all that was doing their thing. He came out against that shit. That's something else that and see one thing about it now, you got a coach that's the coach of a whole team. He decides if you work and if you don't work. You know what I'm saying? So if you come to work, say you and him having a man-to-man conversation one day. You say, Coach, you know what I'm saying? This shit really getting to me, man. Seeing all these police get off killing all these black men that's unarmed. They got their hands up in the sky and they shooting them in the back. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm gonna protest that shit because I really don't like how that's going down. And this is the platform that I have being an NFL player. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna protest this Sunday whenever the game come Friday to get waived up the team because he don't agree with black people protesting. You know what I'm saying? You trying to make it seem like he ain't got no power. He got power to make the decision.
No. That's not what I was trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that is he the enemy?
He's some trash. Yes, he's some fucking trash.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know him, so I can't say that.
So is he an ally?
That's what I want to know. Is he an ally? You don't think
Tell
so?
me, you
Well,
explain to me why I would feel
let me ask you a question. A month ago, let me ask you a question. A year ago, what did you think of John Gruden? What was your honest opinion about John Gruden? Were you like, man, he did good for Tony Dungy? He gave Tony Dungy a spot to be a Super Bowl coach. Did you think of any of that shit before this? Because I'm trying to tell you is that the media is trying to make you think certain thoughts. And Gruden can be a bad person.
The media ain't say, the media ain't say the motherfucker. Did the media make John Gruden say the shit he said? Did the media make John Gruden email those emails?
Did the media have that information? Did the media have that information and hold on to it until the perfect time?
Make John Gruden, listen.
They ain't doing it for the good reasons, all right? They ain't doing it for the good reasons. The reason why that media is exposed, the reason why that email is exposed, the reason why John Gruden don't have a job ain't for good reasons, and it ain't for a march towards the justification for black people. None of that shit is happening with this email being exposed. None of it. And that's the distraction that it is. And you can go back to the well.
Now, one time,
you can go back to the well and actually get
said a lot of
done.
shit, but you never one time said that shit was wrong that he did. You know, shit was wrong with emails.
Yeah,
all of it's wrong.
You blame the media for it. When does he take responsibility for it? Let me ask you this. If John Gruden don't send them emails, what does the media have to report?
They'll find somebody.
No. If John Gruden never send those emails, what the fuck does the media have to report? If the shit they're reporting is true,
they'll report that Rachel Nichols has a beef with a black girl that just started and now she has her job. So they'll report whatever beef they need to clear exactly what you're mad at.
Was the report true?
All of it's true because everybody's racial. I think nobody's racial is ridiculous.
Dude, he missing your
point. If the shit true,
he missing your point.
If the shit they reporting true, it is what it is, motherfucker. You get what you get.
Thing, man. And you know what? I like Eddie passion, but I'm not. When it comes to stuff like that I don't care about that stuff no more. Because in the grand scheme of things, him losing his job, he didn't lose his job because of what he said about black people or Kaepernick. That's not why he got fired. So it's not about black people. So I don't care. What I care about is
because people think like Luke. They think black people got a right to be offended by shit that people say about them. We supposed to just tuck it, grin and bear it.
No, but better than that.
Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing in our own defense. We just supposed to be everybody's lapdog, get kicked in the ass, and don't say nothing. Come on, dog.
What's the difference between?
I got it fucked up. I got it fucked up around here, man.
What's the difference between saying something bad about blacks and nothing getting done, but saying something about gays and something getting done? I'll tell you what the difference is. Because those gays, they're going to hold people accountable when you speak on them. Just like the Jews did Nick Cannon. When Nick Cannon spoke the truth, he spoke the truth now.
I'm all about what Nick Cannon's been saying.
When he said that, all the Jewish people came for Nick Cannon, regardless if they liked him or his show. They didn't give a fuck about his show. They was like, oh, no, you're not finna talk about us. And guess what we're going to do? We're going to fuck with your livelihood and make you apologize. And they made Nick Cannon apologize. And Nick Cannon didn't even ask those rabbis for any proof.
I don't give a fuck about what the Jews did. I don't give a fuck about them. I ain't kissing their ass. I didn't come here to kiss the Jews' ass. I ain't come here to kiss the homosexuals' ass. That's me personally. I'm defending mine. I don't give a fuck about what the hell they did.
This is a Hawks podcast. I did want to just touch on this.
They somebody special. Man, fuck them people, man.
You gotta listen sometimes.
That's all you do, but that's Jamaal, though. He love kissing everybody else's ass. He's an ass kisser like a motherfucker, boy. He's a big time ass kisser.
Eddie, you jump because you think I'm gonna say something, and you be totally.
That's what you do. What you normally do. Eddie, you kissing everybody else.
Hold on, guys. If we're gonna tackle such a deep conversation, let's not try to do this personally because it has nothing. Damon's a good person. Eddie, you're a good person. I'm a good person. So we're not gonna go in it to where what we say is gonna change anybody's
I'm gonna say what I
opinion.
gotta say. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm not sitting. I didn't come in here to kiss nobody's ass about what the hell they do.
Eddie has.
You know what I'm saying? That's not. We all know the Jews got they own pretty much all of entertainment. And if you in entertainment, if you say something wrong to them, they gonna get at you. We already know that. But you ain't gotta say I don't need to sit here and see you lap dog for them. That ain't what we. You know what I'm saying? We talking about John Gruden. Now you talking about the Jews. Come on, man, get back on topic, dog.
Eddie don't want to listen. So what he does, he'll try to cut me off When my point was this, the reason I brought up
Go ahead, give me bag. It was an ass kissing session, man.
The reason I brought up the Jews was to show you that how come blacks don't do that? Why we don't do that? How come when somebody offends blacks, we don't say, hey, you know what? We're not gonna tolerate that. We would not support you. We don't do that.
Probably because of the same reason the NAACP.
Hold on. So blacks don't do nothing when somebody offends us?
No. It's probably, let me say this.
Hold on. I'm gonna show how stupid he sound.
No,
black,
but just it's probably because of the same reason that a non-black person owns BET, a non-black person is the head of the NAACP.
No. So you basically saying when black people
don't have black
do
things.
Nothing, huh?
Y'all have the illusion of black things now. The America has tricked y'all. They took y'all shit.
Well, black people, that shit.
Y'all should have went with Louis Farrakhan. Y'all should have went with Louis Farrakhan. Y'all should have listened to him in the 80s.
Hey, look, man. You think black people need a savior? Black people don't need no fucking savior. Hold on.
Y'all savior.
See, Eddie is passionate.
Hold on. So you're saying black people? So why people doing all this complaining when every time we burn a fucking city down, every time they kill somebody that's unjust?
That ain't the right way to do it, though, right?
That's your opinion.
Burn down the fucking Capitol. Burn down the banks. Don't burn down people's shit.
Lou, watch this, Lou. First of all,
can we burn out whatever we get our hands on?
Do it then.
We're gonna do some damage. Listen, it's gonna do damage.
Play into their hands. Play into their hands.
Hey, us burning down all that land is burning down the banks. They got to reimburse all that shit.
Down, man.
Insurance got to pay all that. Come on, man. Y'all don't get it. You don't even understand the method behind it.
Hold on, Eddie. You got to let him talk because when you talk, it goes over his voice.
Hey, Lou. Remember when that drama happened in Atlanta, and then the black people supposedly burnt down the Wendy's? Come to find out, it wasn't black people did it. If you could look that up, it's a white girl. Black people, we don't go around just burning shit up.
No,
that's not how black people. We don't operate like that. Nope. It be
instigators that are trying to create an idea. There's instigators out there that are trying to create a narrative.
Exactly.
That's all that's going on, and we're falling for it.
What I'm trying to tell Eddie is, I'm not talking about burning stuff down. I'm talking about using our economic power and not supporting certain things.
Why don't you lead? Why don't you lead? Since you got the plan, since you got all the answers, why don't you lead?
That's what I
mean. Since you know what we need to do.
That's what I be.
He needs people like you behind him.
But Eddie,
if he say something, if he doing something worth a damn,
Eddie
then I
is
would.
very passionate. But Eddie,
no, I'm asking you a simple question. You're saying what black people need to do. So why don't you lead it then? Since you know it, we ain't doing it. Why don't you just start? Why don't you start the ball rolling? No. Listen. Why don't you just start the ball rolling tomorrow and let us see how it's supposed to go? And once everybody see you start making, once we start seeing you making inroads to what you're saying that we ain't doing, then we'll start getting behind you.
This is definitely not a political show. I definitely just wanted to bring up the Gruden thing, to kind of keep it more narrow to that. I mean, it's definitely a large topic that we could obviously go in many different directions, where the origins of this comes from, where all of it comes from. But the bottom line is that it was an unfortunate situation, but this wasn't a black thing. This wasn't something that was done to justify black people. This was done, if anything, the LGBT community once again is the one that's
I'm glad it happened to him.
Exactly.
Who they did to appease. I don't give a fuck. I'm glad they did it.
Because what they know.
I don't give a fuck. I'm not. Hey, listen. I don't give a damn. I think I can get it.
How many gay people are in the total NFL?
Y'all mad at everybody but John Gruden.
No. Let me just make this point. Let me make this one point.
One thing, y'all defending. Your whole thing is defending.
Damn it.
Your whole thing is defending.
Nobody.
Let me make this one point. How many?
Your whole thing is defending John Gruden and making it about a meeting.
Nobody.
How many gay people are in the total of the NFL, whether it's the administrations or whether it's the players? And then how many black people are in the organization of the NFL and the players? And who was the offended institution or the people that got the shit done? That's the thing that I'm trying to talk to you about.
Y'all just guess. Y'all don't know. Y'all don't know really what got them. Y'all don't know what the hell actually happened.
Let me tell you because I do know this.
Y'all don't know. Y'all just guessing, and you go whatever narrative you want.
The percentages of
that's what you
all
say.
gay people. There's a
whatever
percentage
narrative y'all wanted to be is what y'all gonna say it is.
Okay, well,
That's
we're
what
not talking anymore.
What's
You
it-
feel that everybody's racist towards black people or something? Like, what is the main point that you want to say? And let's just move this on. And let's
He don't
My point is this right here. Y'all
He don't-
trying to make it seem like, okay, he
All-
didn't get fired because he said what he said about black people. What happened was they found out he said something about damn near everybody. Said something about women. Said something about black people that was protesting. Said something about gay people. He said something about damn near everybody. So he had too much shit to defend. So he had to leave. Y'all trying to make it about one particular group, the gays. When you don't know, y'all don't really know that. Y'all just got an agenda that you want people to think it is, but y'all gonna say whatever the hell it is to push that agenda. Come on, man. I don't give a damn who it was that they got offended, they got him out. I'm glad he out. Because you ain't got this closet racist behind these black people and their careers over there in LA.
You don't think Jerry Jones? You don't think Jerry Jones is more racist than you don't think all these owners are more racist than John Gruden? Because if you really want to get rid of racism, you ain't gonna have an NFL.
They probably are.
You ain't gonna have an NFL.
They probably are. Listen, they probably
if you start firing
but
everybody, you ain't gonna have an NFL.
Listen.
For
One
racism.
thing about it, it's like this right here. I don't give it. Even if they smart enough to not put that shit out there in the open like that.
Okay, well then,
keep that shit hidden. Whatever you do, you keep it hidden. Keep it out my face. I don't like you neither. You know what I'm saying? He might not like me, but I don't give a fuck about no Jerry Jones playing football. I don't like him. I don't like people like him. So him like locking black people, I don't give a damn about that. I really didn't care about John Gruden, his opinion. But once you put it out in the open like that, people find out. You can't start trying to make it seem like you know what I'm saying, you were innocent bystander and you just got misunderstood. No, you ain't get misunderstood. You are exactly who you were in them damn emails. And people that's trying to defend him need to understand that shit. See, you know what I'm saying?
I haven't heard anybody that's defended Gruden. I've only heard people.
You damn sure they say it was his fault alone. I ain't heard that shit out of nobody.
Listen, I have a thing.
You said it's the media.
I have an adverse reaction.
That's what you said.
I have an adverse reaction to the idea of cancel culture because nobody is perfect, and the idea that we're not trying to move ourselves forward and instead attacking each other. So instead of attacking each other for being wrong, I think it's not a way for a country that's barely hanging by a thread on unification to go about its business. I think if we want to get unified, then we got to go about it a different way. If we don't want to be unified, then we got to have the Louis Farrakhan. Then we have to have the Louis Farrakhan approach where we split this shit up.
All right, let me ask you a question then. Even after finding out everything that John Gruden said, you think, and we talking about taking out cancel culture, we taking out all of that shit. Do you think that he would be able to walk in that building the next day and still have the respect of everybody in that locker room and be able to move forward with his job?
I think that's what it should depend on. I think that's what it should have depended on. I think it should have depended on that conversation between those that are at war together.
You feel like that would have been a possibility after that day? After everything was on the table, you feel like that was a possibility after that day?
I don't know many fucking sports guys that play sports that aren't racial towards each other all the fucking time. Shut up, this guy. Shut up. They're playing with each other. It's a joke. It's funny for them. There's no way that a lot of people would have said that.
So John Gruden was joking?
He was mad. No. John Gruden, no. That's not what I said. I said the players that play the game together.
We're talking about the coach. We're talking about the coach. We're talking about the players. You taking it to another level.
No,
we're talking about the coach that's leading the franchise.
You just said this. Can he walk back into that room of the players? That's where the players came in. You said that.
He the coach. He the leader.
Those people with that sensibility would have had a chance to then either take him back or say fuck off. And that's where it should have been dealt with. Not in the media.
If you was an LA Raiders player, you at home or you sitting in your car or whatever, you get the chime on your phone that John Gruden said all this stuff about all these people on these emails. Okay, now you got to go back to work tomorrow. Is your opinion going to be the same of him and your respect level going to be the same of him the next day as it was the day that you found out all the shit he said?
Well, you going
to have the same viewpoint of him?
You saying if I'm a fan or if I'm a player?
No, if you're a player with the Raiders.
And he said that?
I mean, once you find out everything he said to me,
I want to know why he said it.
I wouldn't look at him the same.
Hell no. Hell no, you would. It's impossible. It's impossible for him to go back in there and lead that team now.
I mean, but my whole point was it's slick because the Raiders had that evening on Friday, and he held that and let Gruden coach another. My point was that the NFL, not just John Gruden, the NFL just showed you, because remember, if you read it, the owner of the Raiders, Mr. Davis, he only had the part about DeMaurice Smith. They didn't put the other part.
They had more than that. They just all they put out there.
No, he didn't. The owner only had the part about DeMaurice Smith on Friday. He didn't have the other part yet. So what that showed me.
Dan Snyder had the other part, didn't he? They got
the part, but the owner of the Raiders.
Dan Snyder, I heard that today.
The owner of the Raiders had the part about DeMaurice Smith on Friday, and that showed me that the owners don't give a fuck about black people, man. He didn't give a fuck because he said.
But when they come out and say, I'm gonna tell you how they rolled it out when they rolled it out, right? They came out and said, yeah, he said something about big lips on an email 10, 11 years ago. DeMaurice Smith, when he responded, he said something about it, but it wasn't really forceful. You know what I'm saying? He's so laid back.
Was John Gruden addressing DeMarcus, or was he addressing somebody else?
He was speaking on
addressing DeMaurice Smith.
DeMarcus, because the NFL, they was going through that play, the unit and then was beefing.
They was going through that boat. And they was going through that boat at the time.
Yeah, and
they was going through that boat. That's why DeMaurice Smith made more of it than he did, because he was trying to still win that boat.
I got a question. If the position that DeMaurice Smith was in, if that was a white guy and John Gruden had said something shitty about him in a racial way, saying he was either a Jewish piece of shit or this, that, and the other, how would you feel about John Gruden? Is this just the black thing, or is this the fact that he's an asshole?
He's a piece of shit thing. I don't agree with a motherfucker saying a whole bunch of shit about nobody in a situation where ain't nobody really doing nothing to you. You know what I'm saying? People are learning about their own fucking business. It ain't got nothing to do with being black. It ain't got nothing to do with black shit. It's got something to do with a motherfucker. You know, you don't like gay people. You don't like black people. You don't like women being referees. This motherfucker don't like nobody but white folks. You don't like
Should you be allowed to not like people? Should you be allowed to not like? Should you be allowed to not like people, certain people, for whatever reason? For whatever reason.
But what I'm saying is, if you talking about you a leader of a damn franchise that has gays in it, that has blacks in it, and that has women in it, make sure that you ain't no motherfucking bigot behind the shit that you talking. Have a good reason and a good logic behind saying some of the shit that you gonna say. Now,
I just don't know many masculine men playing football that aren't misogynistic.
But what I'm saying, what does it hurt for a woman to be a referee? What kind of problem is that? This is a white man just showing that he ain't comfortable with nobody being in a position of a power, but white folks. That's pretty much what he's saying. And when you sum it all down, you don't like nobody to be in position of power but white people.
Hold on, but we just talked about the conditioning that has been put on poor people, Hispanic people, and black people in America. We just talked about how they condition you to feel like you're below and all this. You don't think there's a conditioning for him too? You don't think there's a conditioning to feel that way?
They ain't doing no conditioning him. They're conditioning him to feel like he's supposed to think that he's better than motherfuckers.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what America does. Yeah, right. That's why he feels the way he feels.
So firing one person ain't gonna get the job done. If you want to take this up to the fucking to the top, then you got to get to the root of the problem. That's my point, and that's all I was saying about this being lame. That you're just gonna fire one guy.
You have some collateral damage on the way to that motherfucker.
Shut the whole NFL down. It's a misogynistic piece of shit organization, right? It's all ran by billionaires that made money on the backs of people nefariously. Every one of them. Jerry Jones is not the only one. You can go down the line, Dan Snyder, this, that, and the other. So we're being hypocrites by just calling out one person. It's the same fucking thing that always happens. And everybody gets distracted by the little bells and whistles, and nobody gets to the root of the problem, that we have a justice issue. We have a justice reform issue that's not allowing anybody.
Hey, Lou, don't forget.
I'm going to tell you the difference.
NBA owners right up there with them.
Right.
About Donald Sterling.
Thank you. So we're just gonna blind eye so we can watch the sports, but then when one person gets called out on one little thing, the thing is like the whole shit is obviously.
Yeah, we all know that. But one thing about it, whenever you got proof, once you got proof of what a motherfucker is and what they did, that's what make the most difference. Say me and you and DeMond all in a blood game, right? Mm-hmm. We all bloods. We all been in the bloods for 20 years, the same shit. We've been in the most notorious set in the motherfucking America. We done killed the most people. We done did the most motherfucking, most crime and all that shit, right? But they get me texting. They intercept my text in my phone. Me saying that I killed this one dude. You know what I'm saying? I took him behind his back alley, beat him half dead, left him never dead. They found him dead the next day. You know what I'm saying? Then they found another text that I text 10 years ago saying that I raped this girl. You know what I'm saying? And killed her daddy on the same fucking day. You know what I'm saying? They all know we some pieces of shit because we all in that same game. They all know we do crime. They all know we don't give a fuck about a lot of people in humanity. But I'm the only one that they got proof of the shit that he did and said because I put it in text and I put it in writing. That's what the difference is. Once you get some shit in writing, you can't. It's hard for you to now to try to defend what you say you are, what you are. I gave them the proof because I put this shit down in text. They still still guessing about you with Jamaal. You know what I'm saying? They still guessing about you with Jamaal. They think they know. They probably got a good. They probably own to some shit. They really close to knowing who you are, but y'all ain't never gave them no proof. Y'all kept y'all shit close to the vest, so y'all didn't give them no evidence. I gave evidence. That's why my ass finna go to prison for the rest of my life. Probably
But here's the thing that we're losing.
That's what the difference between them and Gruden, though.
But this used to be different. We used to be a nation of understanding of like, okay, 10 years ago, you were not the same person that you were now, right?
This country ain't never been understanding. No, this country ain't never been no understanding place.
The idea is where that comes from is to be a more better union, right? The idea is to constantly work to be better, right? And you have to do this with yourself. Who I was as a 20-year-old man is not who I am now. It just isn't. And so if he was as a 30-year-old man, as a 50-year-old man, you change, you keep evolving. And so if you're going to take something that happened 10 years ago and act like that's him now and act like he hasn't had a chance to have redemption, I think that misses the whole point of what we're trying to do. Exposing racism is not about elevating one race over the other. It's about the unification of it, right?
But let me tell you something. Let me say something.
No. That's a real question. It's not a rhetorical question. That's a real question.
But let me say something.
You still got to deal with the culpability of the shit that you did once people find out, though. Even though you might be a different person, you might be a better person, but once the shit that you did comes to the light, you gonna have to deal with the response. You gonna have to deal with you gotta accept responsibility for what you did and take whatever come with that. And let that shit keep making you a better person. So you say you're a better person, let the lesson you finna learn from this shit you're going through make you that much more of a better person. Because you're gonna get that work. So once they find out, you get them emails, you're gonna get that work.
Hey, so what you're saying is we should have forgiveness for people for stuff that's old. Like what's the boy name? One of them didn't Patrick Mahomes
Jermaine Johnson?
No, Patrick Mahomes had some shit about he support the police back when he was still a teenager, and somebody went on his Twitter and dug that shit up, and everybody started going in on Patrick Mahomes saying he not black because he fought with the police. So, are you saying like people deserve they change, they mature over time, and that whatever they did or said in the past, they should not be held accountable for?
I'm not saying that. No.
Oh,
yeah, that's pretty much what you're saying. Even you saying he changed, so he should. Why should he be held accountable for what he did when people find out? That's like a motherfucker that murdered somebody 30 years ago.
First of all, I have never said that John Gruden should not be fired over those emails. I think he should have been fired over the first one, and it shouldn't have waited till the next ones to come out. That's not the point of this. My point is now all of a sudden you think that he's a racist. Hold on. My point is all of a sudden just thinking he's a racist just because the media told you. The media is the shit. The media is the enemy. The media is the one that's trying to get us to be divided.
The media told me what he said.
Hold on. You think the media for the last 20 years is trying to
told me what he said.
You think the media has been trying to unify us as Americans or has been trying to divide us for the last 20 years? You answer that.
Divide us.
Thank you.
Hello, did the media burn down Tulsa?
Did they do it for nefarious reasons, or did they have a different agenda?
Listen, hold on. Let me just answer my question with a yes or no. Did the media burn down Tulsa? Did the media put a knee on George Floyd's neck for fucking 8 minutes? Huh? Did the media kill the little boy that was playing out there with a little toy gun? Huh?
Do you know who Ashley Babbitt is? Do you know who Ashley Babbitt is?
Did the media kill Mike? Huh?
Do you know who Ashley Babbitt is?
All they do is report what the hell going on in real life.
No,
It's other shit that's going on.
That's not true.
Media pushes an agenda.
Thank you. Always.
They the reason.
So, hold on. Is any of that shit that I just said was a lie? What did the media report that was a lie out of all that?
Listen, before 2020, won't nobody run around here talk about anti-vax. The media created that vax
division. It's division.
No one else gave a fuck about who was vaccinated ever.
Did the media? Hold on. Did the media make it? When did the media push a Karen to be a Karen? Tell me what did the media do to push that?
Hold on, you're talking about social media.
Do that shit on their own.
You're talking about social media because it did. They wouldn't be doing it without social media. They wouldn't be doing it without social media. You think Facebook and TikTok?
What the fuck actually happening?
You think Facebook and TikTok? You think Facebook and TikTok and Instagram don't have an agenda when they push these viral videos of a black person acting a fool or a cop getting shot?
They should push the truth. Listen, they should have an agenda to push the truth.
If you want truth, the real enemies are in the fucking office of our fucking Congress. Nancy Pelosi. Mitch McConnell.
So you saying John Gruden? So basically, you saying John Gruden emails is a lie. The media lying on John Gruden.
No.
What you saying?
What I'm saying is this. This is what I find funny about this whole thing. He wrote them emails in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
They just found them now.
Right.
And nobody got a question about that.
They just
you ain't asked a single question about why that.
I don't give a fuck about it. Listen,
exactly.
if it's something that'll be found, it shouldn't have ever been nothing that'll be found. It shouldn't have been nothing that'll been found. What the hell are you talking about? It shouldn't have never been nothing that'll be found.
You've never been racist towards white people in your past?
Racist toward white people?
Yeah.
I can't be racist.
I can't be fucking racist. I'm prejudiced, yeah. I ain't racist.
Okay. Have you ever been prejudiced towards white people in your past?
Yeah. Every race of people should be prejudiced for their own. Now, that don't mean I'm gonna treat white people wrong.
Thank you. So
hold on. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen, you ain't even listening. You emotional right now.
No.
Listen to what I'm saying.
What you're saying.
Every race of people should be prejudiced towards their own people. But that shouldn't force you to treat other races disrespectfully.
He has 40 years. He has 40 years of coaching that shows that he doesn't treat them differently. He promotes them.
He hasn't treated. I ain't seen nobody come out and say that Gruden treated them wrong.
Thank you. That's where racism is. That's what real.
That's some fucked up shit.
But we don't know. Listen. Okay. All right. Let me say this. Okay. Say when you got a district attorney that comes out or a police officer and you see that he's been planting evidence on people. It only takes one time for you to see he got that rotten gene in him. You see a judge that's been taking kickbacks. If you see a lawyer, a DA that's been fucking up over people, all it takes for you to find out they did it one time. But now you got to go back and you got to check all the fucking cases that they had to see if it was any kind of impropriety in any of them. You know what I'm saying? Anytime you in a position of power like that.
The only people that are in a position of power are police officers. Everybody else is
coaches. You talking about coaches?
But actions and words are different. So
right.
like this.
Listen to what I'm saying.
Let me retort.
Like this, Eddie. If John Gruden says, "Hey, DeMar's got big ass lips," okay, that's one thing. But I think it's different than if a player came out and said, "I wasn't given an opportunity because I'm black," or "I wasn't given an opportunity because." He ain't gonna
he ain't gonna come out and tell nobody that. He's not gonna put that on Front Street.
Eddie, what I'm saying is actions and words are different. I'm not saying, of course, if you're a racist, you're not gonna do it blatantly. But what I'm saying is this.
Yeah, I'm more worried about the ones that aren't openly racist.
What I'm saying is this. Your actions speak louder than words. He said all that shit. Yeah, that's fucked up. But
don't know. But the actions he have done, you don't know what the hell was behind it. Because before you didn't know he had any kind of disposition when it came to race. But now you see in the back of his mind. Hold on.
I still don't.
Now you see in the back of his mind, he got all this other bullshit going on. Now you see he don't like black people that like the protest. He don't like women in the sports. He don't like gays. You know what I'm saying? So now listen, man. God damn, go ahead, man.
Be off, man. And I've been quiet while you
I just started talking, nigga.
Nigga, you been talking the last 30, 40 minutes, bro.
Oh, Eddie? Come on,
Almost we just started talking. He been saying majority of the jump since I've been listening.
Go ahead and talk, man. Say what you got to say.
and all I'm saying is this: you could be right on. I don't know what thinking, what anybody's thinking. Or all you can go off.
You don't know what his actions is being either.
Hold on,
you don't know nothing about his actions.
But
You
that's
don't know nothing about his actions.
what I'm saying.
Hold on, Eddie.
All I can go off of is two things.
But you don't know nothing about his actions. But you can't even speak on.
Hold on. Go ahead.
I can
got
go
you.
off his actions, or I can go off what people who work for him says about him. That's where you really get your information from. People who work for you or work with you or under you, they'll really give you the scoop. And that's why I said it's funny that he said all that stuff, and that was a lot of stuff, but I have not heard one player come out and ever say anything bad about John Gruden. I found that funny. Now, personally, I don't care what John Gruden said. I don't care what he thinks. I find
it funny you need a player to say anything to convince you of anything.
Well, that's
No, it would just mean more. He's saying that it would mean more. He's saying that he would put more weight on that. That if Tony Dungy came out and said, "Hey, man, I definitely had a problem with Gruden. Like he was obviously being
They can't do that, bro. Y'all not being realistic, man. Them boys can't do that.
So somebody can give you all that motherfucking evidence.
I'm not saying a current player come out publicly, but it's players who's played for him who don't play in the NFL no more.
But even though the ones who played or whatever, like let's be real, man. A lot of us or whatever, we trying to work. They trying to keep a job and stuff like that. So a lot of us in position where we we tiptoeing around in a sense. You know what I'm saying? We don't have the FU money, or we don't have the whatever you want to call the confidence to say forget this and walk to the side or whatever. But even if they retired, man, just because them boys because they on Fox, because they on ESPN, this and that, man, they can't say what they need to say. They can say it after it comes out from another standpoint, but no black man can sit there and say this and that or whatever about a white man who is connected or whatever within the realm that they want to be in and make a living in or whatever, and just walk away scathe free or whatever. Like a lot of them just swallow that pill, bro.
It's the same thing as like the Harvey Weinstein thing, right? When Harvey Weinstein was in power with all these movies and all the Scarlets were getting, banged by him, and they didn't want to, but they couldn't come out and just say that because they were still part of that whole network.
It took basically a government inside thing or whatever, because this was all accidental in a sense because something else not related to Gruden was getting, dug into and stuff like that. So it has to come. And then the thing about it, I think like what Shannon Sharp was saying that though, but like, there's a lot more and bigger stuff to this or whatever that they just not gonna get into, and this just being the cover, or the surface level or whatever to keep everybody in a sense focused on. But like, if that didn't happen, none of this would have came out.
Right. And you know what? I agree with you, Mike, but I'm just saying, all these years that he's been an NFL coach, I have not heard one thing bad about John Gruden as far as being a racist. Now, I'm not saying that he's not. I'm just saying.
I think Keyshawn never rocked with him.
I haven't seen nobody come out and ever and just say anything bad about Gruden, regardless if they not saying. Obviously, cats who work in sports media not going to say nothing because they want to keep their job.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But even if you're a player though, you want to keep your.
He been a head coach for like 20 years.
I understand, bro.
He done somebody like real bad.
Put it like this, Damon. Another thing too, it's kind of not a bad thing, but not even just the fact that like we in position where it's like if you say something, you're gonna probably lose everything. But also too, a lot of us in a position where, bro, we used to it. Like a lot of those NFL players on top of that, they come from country towns, man, where damn where they played for like probably some way worse coaches. So they worse. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? They ain't thinking too much of it or whatever. So it's like I'm not finna go out here and be the whistleblower for something that I know is not gonna change and it's really the norm within this whole doggone arena of this sport that I play and feed my family off of or whatever. So that plays a part into it too, because like I said, majority of these boys come from country towns, man. Country towns, man, you know what it is, man. Them coaches don't even run the running back in the red zone because they want the white quarterback to get the rushing touchdowns and stuff like that.
Right, let me tell you what we were discussing about the John Gruden thing. What we was discussing was the first part we discussed was how come Gruden wasn't fired when the stuff about what he said about DeMaurice Smith came out, but when the other stuff about the women and he called Goodell a sissy, why was he fired then, but wasn't fired when he said?
And also, and what Eddie said to that was that because it was a buildup. So it was like, okay, that was the first thing, and they were going to try to let it slide, and then this other thing, and it just kind of kept on building up to be too much to just avoid, which makes sense.
I'll challenge that and say that he could have skipped the first part or whatever, and this would have happened. Like he could have not said anything whatsoever about D. Smith, DeMaurice Smith, or whatever, and this would have been the reaction.
Well, how about this? I got a question for y'all, for all three of y'all. If the only bad thing Gruden said in that email was what he said about DeMaurice Smith, my question is this. One, do you think he should be fired? And the second part is, do you think the Raiders fire Gruden? Just based off the only thing I got email was what he said about DeMaurice Smith. None of the women stuff, none of the gay stuff. What y'all think?
No, I don't fully know what he said, but based upon myself or whatever, yeah, I think that he should be fired and the organization should have done it. That would have been necessarily the right thing. Can't have somebody in a position of leadership that is that's gonna serve a multi-race community and stuff like that too, and you know, say things or make different remarks, whatever it is.
Raiders. All right, Mike, I got that. Do you think the Raiders?
Now I'm gonna tell you. Hold on. Let me tell you how it was. Let me show you how it was rolled out. I'm gonna explain my position about what you're talking about. Now, listen. Whenever
mine, you good.
hey, when they lobbed the shit out there, right? They came out and said, remember, he said that shit about the lips with DeMaurice Smith. The next thing they do, Malcolm X told you, anytime a black man got some shit going on, a black man got some shit going on in the media, the first thing they're gonna do is roll out another black man to defend the white man. That's what they did with Tim Brown. You know, that's what he does. That's the statement he makes. Tim Brown came out and said that about John Gruden. Hold on. Now, and they dressed it up and saying that this was They said it was a one-time thing. One email said one time him joking about his lips. Okay, if that's what it was, I ain't gonna say fire a man and take a man's livelihood behind that. Yeah, it don't sound right, and it got a racial bind to it. But I ain't gonna, because of the shit that y'all saying, he done built up enough equity in football with people that he done treated right to give him the benefit of the doubt on that one. But now when he brought out all this other shit, he done said over a 7-year span, said repeatedly. Now this when the shit changed. Now you ain't talking about the one email no more. You talking about a whole litany of shit. You know what I'm saying? This is pretty much who you are now. This ain't no just one thing said in 2011. No, this shit been said. This shit said from 2011 up to 2018 and 19.
Do we think any of our coaches? Do we think any of the coaches that are coaching the major leagues? Do you think none of them are flawed? Because a lot of them they seem flawed. Like whether it's Coach Bud that was an alcoholic here, or whether it's this or whether it's that. These gentlemen are passionate and focused on one thing. They're not good at other parts of their lives. They're not the best fathers. They're not the best this. Just because you're a good coach, it just makes you an obsessed human. It doesn't make you.
If you're a racist, if you're a fucking racist, if that's the flaw you are, if you're a racist and that's the flaw you got, your ass need to go. You don't need to be around motherfucking people.
A lot of people just say age, though, bro. Well, I don't want to necessarily say just, but a lot of it has to do with the folks' age, man. They just came up in the world and programmed to be a certain way. So they just extremely ignorant. And then when you talk about a white man, and then heterosexual male at that too, he's been allowed to do what it is that he do for a very long time. That is not any type of shame or second thought.
Phase him out of society. You need to be phased out of society. If you're an old white man still thinking that way, your ass need to be phased out of society. Bye. Get the fuck on. We ain't gonna miss you.
The problem is they're the ones in charge.
Yeah, I mean they majority of the ones in charge. That's exactly the situation. But that's exactly why John Gruden.
He was saying 15 more years, they finna be dead anyway.
And here's the thing: is that the media doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because they got families and they already are. The media is distracting you with these little superficial things, and they're keeping you away from the actual change that needs to happen, which is inside that White House, which is inside that government, which is inside that Congress.
Most of them got daughters with biracial kids. They ain't, man. Look at him, man. You got to look deep into that shit. A lot of people that grow up with them with their racist mindsets, the kids and the people that's around them, they break away from that shit because they don't like that shit. You know, you got some that stay with it, but you got a lot of them that like, man, look, that shit ain't right. I like people. I like black people. I like these people. Why he talking that nasty about them?
Hey, you like white people though, right?
Like other people.
Hey, you like white people though, right?
Hey, the ones who break away are the ones.
You like white people though, right, Eddie? You like white people, right?
Hey, you hear me?
No.
You see a white person, you automatically don't like them.
I tolerate them, but I don't like them. The only white person I like is Stephen Patrick.
Hey, Lou, the age thing goes both ways, though. Hey, the age thing goes both ways.
No, I'm just joking. I like some white people. I like some white people.
He being dead serious.
I like some black people.
He over 40 from the country.
No, I feel you. That's what I'm saying. You're allowed to not like people.
Hey, he over 40 from the country. So that's an honest response. You probably know. Most of them say that.
I know that's kind of what I expected. It's like you're allowed to not like people for whatever reason you don't like them for. Whether it's conditioning from your shitty ass parents, or it's or whatever it is, or whether you had a bad experience one time with someone that was conditioned to be a dick. It doesn't matter. People have their prejudice. People have their ideas of shit. My thing is that he does not represent racism to me. He just doesn't.
I mean, but you got to look at it from the standpoint of the fact that how much power and control John Gruden has been in. So when it comes to you looking at this issue of, like, I don't know, coaches throughout the NFL, then like how many sorry ass white boys he probably referred or spoke highly of over a black coach.
I can't assume all that.
And that's
I'm saying. No. You won't assume all that, but like I'm saying, bro, you ain't a black man living in this world. I can assume that already.
But y'all can assume
I tell you
about
already that he wasn't putting his neck out for no black man to be in no position, bro.
Hey, Mike,
what's up?
You get it, Mike. You understand exactly what I'm trying to tell them. Now, we saying something about, they talking about black people ain't having shit and black people at the bottom and all this. They was assuming all the worst shit about black people, and they was cool with that assumption. But now when it's coming assuming some shit about white people, no, I can't assume that. Come on, dog.
Man, you
know,
I
tried
to be
consistent, dog.
Nice, but listen up, Eddie. Okay, let me scoop real quick. All right, check it out. When I say
don't get this motherfucker to flow.
When I say shut the fuck up, bro. Because you run your fucking mouth and don't.
No. Stick to the thing. Stick to the thing.
Okay, listen. When I say black people don't own shit, that's a fucking fact. Just because you, let me tell you, that talking point that you use. Oh, my granddaddy got 1,000 acres. Blah blah blah. That's the same talking point that the liberals use when they say, "Oh, look at all the millionaire football players y'all have. How can you
LeBron James?"
It's the exact same fucking talking point, bro. So when I say black people don't have nothing, I mean that as a group, not your little city, not you and your family, but blacks as a whole. We are dead.
What white people got as a group?
Hold on,
what white people got as a group?
If you know,
what does white people have as a group?
Listen to
Dr. UK.
And you read Dr. Carl Anderson. And
black people got Africa. What the fuck are you talking about?
You know the facts.
What does white people have as a group?
Don't sit up here and act like I just get up here and say, black people, y'all need to get up off your ass. I'll never say that
for a minute?
I'll always state white.
Hey, the most thing you got in America is poor ass white people.
So get the fuck out of here.
Hold on, both of y'all. Let me let Mike talk because he said he has something to say.
Yeah, because I remember that discussion from earlier, and that's why I wanted to try and come in or whatever. I was watching for a moment. I heard Eddie say what he said or whatnot, and which is I understand the standpoint you're saying. And real quick, like this is where black folks get to calling like somebody else a coon or whatnot, you know, when they go on to like these major platforms like CNN and they just start talking about the issues of the black community, but they don't give, of course, the prefix, the quick rundown to kind of let you know how the black community got that. Now, with all that understanding though, I'm not gonna sit here and say that we never did this or that or can't. And I understand how we got to a position that we are currently, but as a unit, as a whole, as Damon is saying, and I understand what you're saying, Eddie, you got your examples of Tulsa, Rosewood, Florida, you even got Nick Chubb, who's descended from Chubb Town, was a black efficient town and stuff like that. What you talking about there? And shoot, here in Atlanta, you got Sweet Auburn. I mean, Martin Luther King, he came from a decent background. He wasn't poor. He definitely wasn't a poor black man or whatnot. He came from a decency, you know what I'm saying? Upper level, upper class, whatever, black folks in a sense or whatever, really in the city too. And like you said, it's a lot of poor white people in America. It really is, you know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of this stuff fall on deaf ears a lot of times with them, because they're like, hell, I ain't got nothing. But when you're talking economics though, economical like power or whatnot, that's where like the money necessarily talking about as far as like us as a unit as a whole. What do we own? What is it that this nation can truly depend upon us about that can be a real threat of us withdrawing and withholding from this nation, where they will be in deep trouble without it? Our greatest resource, and I believe it was either Cornell Anderson or
Cornell West.
I mean, Cornell West, or I'm mixing their names together, but my other guy, Claude Anderson. I'm mixing them together, but Claude Anderson, I believe you said, is our greatest resource is really sweat. You know what I'm saying? But all we really produce is entertainers to an extent for that greatest level or whatever is athletes and singers. That's our greatest export too. When you look out the world, the entire world, you go to Japan, Africa, Europe, you got doggone what's the Chicago scene? What's the Chicago music scene? Drill music. You got Europe drill music. You got trap music across the globe. All that stuff that comes from black people.
And let me ask you this: out of all those things that you just said, the entertainment and all that stuff, how many of them are repping white-owned companies instead of black?
Well, that's what I'm get to or whatever. And when you're talking about talk about power and control as far as owning, when it comes to these airwaves, even this thing that we're on right now, streaming going, the YouTube, the media circuits and stuff like that, we don't own it. When it comes to like, yeah, you guys might have farmed and stuff like that, but for as a great portion or the over really 90% of this nation's agriculture is not coming from black people. When you talk about
12% of the damn people. That's stupid to even think that it will be, because
but at the same time though, the whole nation is not farming though. But let me finish what I'm saying.
What I want to do is Hold on. What I want to do,
at the same time, though, the entire nation is not farming.
How is 90% of the agriculture gonna come from black people, but 12% of the population? Answer that.
Just like it's 12% of black population, but it's 90% of black people in jail. That's how.
Or just like how you can look at the NBA and you see it's majority black folks. Or you can look at the NBA and see it's majority black folks.
You don't really do no real research, because when I showed you them books, you said fuck them books, and that's Dr. Claude Anderson books, and he is the number one scholar.
He spent time working for the White House and for a presidential staff as an economic advisor.
When it comes to black economics, he's number one, and you gonna sit there and say fuck his books. That's how I know you don't do no research. You don't read.
White people do more crime in America than anybody. You don't even know that.
Let me just say this before we go any further. I want to close. Hold on. I just realized.
Than we do.
Hold on, guys. I just realized, and you know, I want to have a Hawks podcast that we do on a Wednesday. And we talk about the Hawks. We opened this up a little bit to the John Gruden, and it's already been double the time that we talked about the Hawks. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and close the show, and I want to keep everybody on, and I'll keep recording, and we can keep posting this up later. But what I want to do is just for the people that came here for the Hawks, we've already we had about 10 people, and now they've all dwindled down.
Let's do this. Let's go off for a minute. I gotta make a couple phone calls, but let's come back home probably about 8:30 if y'all want to do that.
Go ass on now.
What's that?
No, his ass was trying to run.
No, I gotta call my wife, man. I've been on here for a minute. I gotta call my wife, man. She
hey guys, Chicago. This is the type of shit though. These are the type of conversations that we need to have amongst each other. But to get to a point though, that there's got to be a reason for this.
Real quick. My little cousin overheard me talking. Look what he brings to me. Have you read? My little cousin read Powernomics.
All right, let me ask you this question. Hello,
that's a good book.
Come on, tell your little cousin. Come here for a minute. Hold on. Let me ask you your little cousin a question.
Hey, don't cover up this little cousin.
Tell me, come here. I'm gonna ask you a question.
My cousin.
Listen, I'm gonna ask you a question. Tell me, come here. Come here, cuz. Come here, little cuz.
Hey,
I like the.
He said, hey, this is what you talk about right here.
I like.
See, you're not
the book. Let me ask you a question.
You uninformed like my little cousin is.
Y'all,
we read these books here, boy. We read these books here.
Okay. Tell me what institution Dr. Claude Anderson started and it's still been flourishing since he been young with all this knowledge he got with the power numbers. Tell me what name something that he started that benefit black people.
What does that
mean? How long? Name something that Dr. Claude Anderson, the one that originated that book right there.
You
tell me something.
You got 5 books. It's 5 books. I showed you the other 4.
Name whatever. What power structure?
You said fuck them. But you know what
That's why. That's why. I don't need your lip service. Show it to me. Don't tell me what to do. Show me what to do.
To come and say,
show me how to fish. Show me how to fish.
But then when I give
you say show you how to fish, and it's funny when he sat there and he owned like one of the main like harbors or whatever for his fish goes in the Northeast or whatnot. That's one of the things they've done. Like I said, I have to go further into it.
Claude Anderson. You can't just disparage this guy without knowing anything about him.
Dude, I know this dude. He ain't did a motherfucking thing. All he do is sit around like Dr. Mon and talk about what black people ain't got. But he ain't did nothing. What has he done?
Hey, he just know the
surface level. Answer my question. What has Dr. Claude Anderson done for black people?
Here asking me, what has Dr. Claude Anderson done? Are you kidding?
He damn near broke. Talking about my power numbers. This motherfucker damn near broke. All he got is a couple books to sell. He ain't did shit.
Taking risks in capitalism is not being broke, man.
Man, listen.
Look, if you got all this knowledge about power numbers, why you implement that in your own life?
At least
he did. Hold on.
With Eddie on our numerous Facebook pages. Okay, let me tell you what I learned about Eddie. All his shit is surface level. He get that surface level and he'll go back and forth, but he doesn't read books. He doesn't really do research. That's why he try to cut you off, or he'll repeat the same stuff you just said. You know what I'm saying?
Explain to me what Dr. Claude Anderson did. He been talking this power number shit for years. Explain to me what he done in his life.
But bro, do you not understand? Do you not understand where that comes from, though? Do you not understand the position that he held in the United States of America? Do you not understand that, bro?
No disrespect. But what has he? Listen,
no, it's not just politics. You don't get voted into the position that he held. You get appointed by the folks who are already that went through all the politics to get there.
What? Okay, but we talking about something that ain't got nothing to do with politics. We talking about power numbers.
That's what I'm talking about. Again, I just asked you, do you not understand the position that he held? If we're talking economics, you know the position that he held. The position he held was about economics.
Obama, he was the president. Y'all say he ain't do shit with it.
Hold on.
What did Claude Anderson do with it?
If you did research, I wouldn't have to tell you this, but I'm gonna tell you. Dr. Claude Anderson, what he said was he tried.
Hold on, Eddie.
He tried when he was in his position. He tried the best he could to get blacks to start getting together. He said, but he was in the position. He wasn't in the position because it was. This is the 70s. This is the 70s. It was just white people. So he really had no assistance. So he was trying to do what he could do at his level. That's why he started writing the books so he could get the information out to blacks. That's why he started writing. Go do some research on him real quick. See what he did.
I already know.
I think the organization of thoughts is more valuable than what you're thinking it is.
I think it's like this. Hey, listen. Okay, let me ask you a question, Lou. If you write a book about how to build cars from the ground up, right? But you ain't never built no motherfucking cars. Is anybody gonna take you serious about your book and you talking about building cars?
Eddie,
see, this is the point I'm making. I don't listen.
Let me show you something real quick, though. Hold on, everybody, real quick. But if I'm talking about building a spaceship that doesn't exist yet, and I theorize it, and I put it on paper, and I say, these are the things that we have to do to get it done. These are the steps that it takes to create something that doesn't exist. It's not a thing that exists, is what he's trying to put into place.
Exactly.
You can start it on a small scale. You can build a business on a small scale that employs black people, that creates jobs for black people over years and years and years, grows from the ground up like a lot of these big businesses did, like Walmart and all these other place pieces did. A lot of them big businesses we see nowadays started in their own fucking garage. They started small. They built. Hold on, let me fucking talk. They started small. They built it from the ground up, and now you got corporations that's got. Hold on, they got businesses and all. They all across the country now. Now you got Claude Anderson with all this fucking talk and lip service talking about what you got to do, what you can do. Black people ain't got this and that. But you ain't showing us no fucking different. All you doing is talking. We are talking all the motherfucking time. Talk ain't shit. Hold on. Bernie Mac told y'all talk ain't shit, man. Talk ain't shit. If you ain't put no action behind that shit, I don't want to hear you talk.
Is the point of cancel culture and the point of calling racists out and the point of firing Gruden are we trying to unify each other, or are we trying to point out that we are different, that we can't live together, that we can't do this anymore? Because if that's
we're pulling out the racists need to get the fuck out of society.
But we just said that everybody's racial. We just said everybody's prejudiced, right?
I need to debate with Eddie more often in person.
But one thing about it,
you're not tracking
prejudice. But once you get to the point where you disrespect the other motherfuckers and you over people that you talking about, when you got people that's under you that's black, people that's under you that's homosexual, and you got women that's under you, but your emails come out talking against all these people. Yeah, okay, you need to get the fuck on.
But you don't like white people automatically. How are you better than John Gruden?
I don't got no white people under me. I don't listen. My personal feelings don't affect no other white person.
If they don't work for you, your thought process can still be the same. It
don't make no difference. It don't make no difference because they ain't affecting their life one way or the other. John Gruden is different. He affecting people's life every fucking day.
This is what I'm gonna need you to do.
You don't need me to do a motherfucking thing.
I need you to read some books, okay? That's what I need you to do.
You don't even the books you got. You ain't read none of them motherfuckers. You ain't read none of them.
Hold on. If anybody that was still here watching for the Hawks, if y'all are still here, we promise next week we ain't talking about this shit. We talking about the Hawks only. Go ahead.
It's so much better when I can see your face because you have no idea what you're talking about. But I love your passion.
I think he has a guttural understanding, though, Damon. He's a black man that has experienced this from his own experiences. So
neither one of y'all know more about this topic than I do.
He has a guttural understanding of all of it.
Together. Y'all don't know
that I don't agree with. That I don't agree with.
And just this.
Anyway, man, I got.
Man, let me go call my wife. Yeah. Business, man. Y'all boys been real. People out there, she calling me now. I'm holler at y'all boys, man.
Hold on, Eddie. Before you leave, you and I got to get together so we can get your audio and camera perfect. You too good looking to not be doing that. Oh man,
that cheap ass headset he got.
I know.
$1 headset. But you know what though, man, fellas, let me tell you something, man. I like Eddie's passion, but see, Eddie he get too emotional at the drop. As soon as somebody disagree, instead of hearing the person out, he gets so emotional, and it's like he gets so mad.
Don't nobody even be disagreeing, bro. What it is, I mean, I would prefer him, to hear me say it or whatever, though. But
he will. He watches this. He watches this. So
I'll say it, and then I'll tell him when we get back online. He get too. He not a real thinker. Like, in order to be a real thinker, when somebody's talking to you, in order to,
I'm not co-signing that, but
you gotta. I'm gonna tell him when to get back on.
This is the military part, bro. It's just what words are.
You gotta listen to what the other person is saying. You can't. Eddie will disagree with you midway through your point, and then the funny part is he ends up
finishes your main point.
He ended up saying the same shit that you was gonna say.
Yeah.
And that's the point of all of this, is that we're not that different. We're all struggling in this under this America. We're all struggling. Everybody
is just different upon they ways to go about it. I mean, like I said,
and I think now the media is using these things not to unite us, but to even further divide us. They are the ones that did it. They're the ones that hid the people that were doing the nefarious shit. And all of a sudden they're putting it out in the open, but it ain't doing no good. We ain't getting no justice out of this.
But I'm gonna tell you something. It's because this is my opinion. The Americans, right? All you have to do is scare them. Once you scare them, and I think I told you this before, Lou.
Yeah,
once you scare them, they'll believe any agenda you push if it comes from a source that they like. Listen to me.
No doubt.
A source they like, not believe, not who's telling the truth, but what they like. So they'll believe it. And I tried to give him an example of the vaccine, using the vaccine. Nobody ever said, I haven't had a flu shot in like 5 years. No one called me anti-vax because I haven't got the flu shot. that just came up from who? The media pushing an agenda,
Exactly.
dividing, and it was working for a good hot second, you know. And if you watch in the sports network, they're pushing an agenda
Because they're getting paid to pay that.
Because they're all ganging, which I find hilarious. They're all ganging on Kyrie Irving. And if you go watch First Take this morning, when Jay Will tried to tell Stephen A that, hey, that's Kyrie's decision, Stephen A wouldn't even let him talk. He cut him off.
Exactly.
Because Jay Will wasn't following the plan for the morning. So Stephen A talked over him and wouldn't let him speak. And that's what I was trying to tell Eddie. The media pushes an agenda. So you got to be able to
decipher
stuff from here. Yeah, that's why I watch MSNBC, I watch Fox, I watch The Hill. Because I got to get different perspectives in order to come up with my thought process when it comes to like politics. I'm not just going to listen to Fox News because I know they pro GOP. I'm not going to listen to MSNBC or CNN solely because we know they liberals. Right. So you already know
what the truth. None of them niggas, bro.
Yeah. So I mean, that's why you got to listen to different outlets and then come up with your own thoughts and ideas. But since Eddie, and I'm gonna tell him again, I told him this millions of times, he don't do research. He a surface debater.
No,
surface.
I can see that,
but new, bro. Like I said, a lot of this stuff is new, man. Like a lot of stuff with a lot of people be new, and then when they new to it or whatever, it's that extra eagerness or whatever. Like, man, I'm only 34 years old, but like, bro, like a lot of the stuff or whatever is for the things that people want to be on and talk about. Yeah, I'm be 100 personally, whatever. Been on it since like day one, man. I just, instead of like just going off on my own or whatever, and in a sense, whatever, truly leading or whatever, it just, kind of just, like, man, I understand how this goes. Like, man, these folks ain't ready for that or whatnot, no. But like, I mean, that's just been my stance and where I've gotten to or whatever. It's like, man, wake me when y'all really ready to do something, because at the end of the day, it ain't no point of you talking about all this stuff unless you, just really, like, you need to just understand the game and play the game accordingly. Because like I said,
I would expect somebody younger than Eddie to get his feelings hurt about somebody's language. Because like I'm not offended by that shit. I've been in a locker room. I've seen white people and black people be dumb about that shit.
What I will say about this now, words don't bother me unless you call me a nigga. Then it's popping. But like that shit that John Gruden said don't bother me. But back to what Mike was saying. When people say that shit like, well, what are you doing? Or why don't you go out there and try and be the leader, right? To me, that's a cop-out when people say that. Because you know what? I'm just me. I have my little platform on Facebook. I have my family here. That's my concern. That's who I push my stuff to. That's how I try to inform. And I used to be on Facebook all the time telling people invest. I'm sure Mike's seen it. Cause me and Mike talk about crypto, so we just doing our little bit of part trying to inform our friends. Cause guess what? I'm sure plenty of times when Mike go live, he talk about NFTs and stuff. They may not see it in the chat, but I'm sure people be hitting them up in a DM because they interested. They don't want to be embarrassed asking a question. You know what I'm saying? They hit people up offline. Hey, Mike, hey, what's the NFTs? What's Bitcoin? What's all that? So I think it's a cop out and unfair when you try to tell people, well, you go out there and be the leader, bro. Right. And I think what I can do at my level. Trust me. And I'm going to do a billionaire. I will be doing all type of stuff.
Yeah, and I'm going to say something here about a gentleman that I do think is leading in this capacity, because what he's identified are the exact things that needed to be identified. I just now think he's sold out and is working for another thing. But Killer Mike is someone who has empowered Black people for a long time with financial understanding. It's not just about the past. It's not just about this. It's about understanding certain things of how the game are played, the mechanisms of how the games are played. Yeah. Most Black people don't even know. Most poor white people don't even know. It's
not just about poor Blacks though, but it's a once you really start like slowing down a little bit or whatever, like I'm not gonna sit here and deny the race issue, you know what I'm saying? Because like I'll sit here and talk all day And I love history. I know exactly why, my people are where they are, you know what I'm saying, what's happened historically, where we've been and stuff like that. But at the same time, I'm going to say, you know what I mean? Like, I can feel what Kanye say when he say slavery is a choice, you know what I'm saying? Everybody go crazy or whatever. But if you pause and think about it, because like I said, like as I get older, it's like you starting to realize, like, okay, man, it's a certain game out here that these folks playing or whatever. This is the way you do it. Participate. And then I take myself and look at my people history. Throughout my people history, no matter what the circumstances were for us as a whole, it's always been individuals, whether getting to a point of being famous or whatever or not or whatever, who were beyond their circumstances. Like I said, I paid attention to one time, just like this little black town, little historic, whatever you want to call it. It's a little small museum, just something just in tribute to an old black town in like Decatur here in Atlanta area. But yeah, man, it just to look and read the census or whatever, see how many white people it was, and see that it was a number for slaves, and then see it was a number for freemen, and it was like in the hundreds or something like that. And this is like Georgia, the quote unquote deep South. That make you think, like, how is it? They ain't labeling white folks as freemen or whatever. They'll just be labeled as white people. So then it's that, that make you think. And then knowing about Alonzo Herndon here in Atlanta, Georgia too, or whatever, who was one of the first black millionaires and stuff like that, and the circumstances he came up into, and like he created life insurance company, but that was after him being a barber and having one of the biggest and most fanciest barber shops in Atlanta early days or whatever, where it was a point that they said that he couldn't get a haircut in his own barber shop. So I'm saying he's a black man that was in ownership, but couldn't even get his own service that he was given because it was basically high-end white men that came in to get a cut. So that make you think too, then it was like, where's that mental, that choice and stuff like that, where it start to like try to like, okay, this is how you really kind of break a people through to like get into, even more. But I understand how we got to the point of where our mental is kind of messed up because we've been beaten down as a whole so many decades and decades afterwards, something new. Because even when slavery happened, like we bounced out of slavery really with like the best skilled people in the nation. So we were ones who were primed to take on everything. So in a sense, we were thriving during the what you want to call the Reconstruction era. But once the Union soldiers and all that left, whatever, and now you just got the Civil War, Confederate people who are now governors and all this stuff, whatever, that's when Jim Crow and all the racism come back and start running rampant with no justice year and year after year. So now you start getting PTSD that like, oh, if I do something, these folk gonna blow it up. You got rules with, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, and then you got the crack the epidemic of drugs and, police bruce. It just, so I understand why the mental has been beaten down so bad or whatever. But at the same time, though, at the end of the day, it is a mind over matter type thing and kind of choosing more, you know what I'm saying? Seeing what the situation is, taking the time to really to kind of devise a plan. But, and those of us who do know, because I think it was I want to say it was W.D. Du Bois or somebody like that who always said that, though. But basically, for those of us that do know, we just have a responsibility for those who don't. And a lot of us have to continue to move more that way. So those who, like you said, the money itself, knowing about investing, knowing how to make calls and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? It's up to like someone like yourself to pass that on, you know what I'm saying? Have a way to where, it's affordable still for some people to get into, achieve, or whether you're giving it for free or for, like I said, it's some type of way where you giving that information still back to, the people or whatnot, to where they can have that education and stuff. Because, man, yeah, like just letting school do it, yeah, it takes us down a complete path that literally is training you. Because like I say, you got to understand the game, and the game is perfect. Because if it's capitalism is the game, all right. Even when you think about when this world switched into like industrialism or whatever, okay, you need workers. So what do I need to do to kind of just by default program people into working? You know what I'm saying? Being a 9-to-5 goer type person or whatever. So you see a lot of things, you know what I'm saying, pushing you that way, you know what I'm saying? Because even with myself or whatever, the era that I came into, and now they regret it. And they're like, oh, we need more people with trades. My era coming up, whatever, they pushed everybody to college prep. Go to college, you know what I'm saying? Get student loans in a sense, whatever, you gotta go to college. They made it seem like only the niggas that I knew that was not coming to school, dropping out, running around the streets and gang stuff like that. Oh, they do trade school. You know what I'm saying? You go this and that and everything. You go to off-campus stuff, whatever. They make it seem like only the bad kids, in a sense, supposed to do that. But at the same time, those same ones I know that probably went through that little time period as their young teens just being lost, as a lot of us do or whatever, they did get pushed to trade, but at the same time, they ain't go to college, whatever. They the ones who up on the crane, hiding on this, they making straight money, making good and decent money. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. But someone myself being an artist or whatever, like I probably would have went into like body shop repair or painting cars or something. I don't know, something like that though, but something else in the sense, and then too having an entrepreneurial mindset. But I was always like on an in-between or whatever, where it's like, he ain't the smartest, but at the same time, he ain't at the bottom of the barrel, dumbest over here, skipping school or failing every doggone test. Like, nah, I mean, I getting B's, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, school ain't for me. You know?
And I agree with you when it comes to, because let's see, how old are you, Mike? Like 37?
34.
34.
34.
So I'm 10 years older than you. I'm 44, right? So when I went through high school, they had those.
Yeah.
Welding. We had welding.
Shop.
We had wood shop class. Listen, we even had home economics. You probably can't even have home economics now because the women probably going to say, me too, probably going to shut that shit down.
Right? I think it's called something else now.
I do have a question. I do have a question, and then we'll shut it down. I do have a question. Is the goal of exposing this shit to unite the people of America?
Fuck no.
Okay, so my thing is this: is that we're at a crossroads right now, and then we're at the same crossroads we were at in the 1980s. We're at the same crossroads we were in the 1970s. We're at the same crossroads we were in the 60s. Do we try to segregate this, or do we try to bring this shit together, or do we segregate it in a way that's fair? Because Louis Farrakhan made a lot of sense when I used to watch him on the Phil Donahue show, saying, "Hey, we don't need to go back to Africa because y'all stole that already. We are people that were here, and this is our shit. Give us a little bit of this land and let us do our own Black House, our own Congress, our own laws, however we want to adapt it, and let us do our own shit."
Well, you know, that's never going to happen because
it's never going to happen. Why?
Lou, they were supposed to do that. Where's my fucking 40 acres and a mule at? See, it's not going to happen. You know why? And I'm gonna tell you why. Because that's power.
Exactly.
That brings power.
Right.
But even if it did happen, they'll conspire against us.
Exactly. They'll find a way.
Hold on, real quick, guys. This is the big conspiracy point that they're trying to do. Is they're trying to get us all distracted on all this identity shit. But at the very end, what's at the end of all of this distraction that these bankers and these corporations are doing is nobody has property. Nobody owns anything except them. Well, that's what they're trying to do. They're distracting the 90% and arguing. So we're arguing, dividing amongst ourselves, while the white and the black and the Jewish and the Chinese that are wealthy and all of this shit, they're just sitting back licking their chops.
Well, Lou,
they're waiting for us to fuck ourselves over.
Let me tell you, Lou. Okay. First of all, it ain't no black sitting up there laughing. Okay. They're not gonna let blacks up there. They're not gonna let the blacks up there in that 1%. Okay.
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are. No, they're not.
WD Bose. You go back to the Bouye. You go back to the Bouye fraternity.
How many black billionaires? Part of the white people. It's only a handful of black billionaires, right? Only a handful. They're not gonna let them up there. Okay. But I do agree with the main point that you're making. And what they're not using the Gruden thing. They're using the COVID. Watch this. Yep. And I'm sure you're tracking this, Lou. Watch this. The first stimulus package. Watch this. COVID hits. They shut down all businesses, right? Who goes out of businesses? Just the small businesses. But guess who stays open? Walmart, Target, all the big ones stay open, making money. So then they make all these. Listen. They get all these Americans. I think they put another 25 million on unemployment once they shut down the economy. Come with the stimulus package. The first one, I think it was 2.5 trillion, right? Bruh, they only gave us a couple grand a piece. That ain't no fucking $1 trillion. Where the fuck is the rest of the money at, right? Then they come back with another stimulus, right? Where the fuck is that money at? Because then we only got 12.
I never got any stimulus, by the way.
So where's the fucking money? See, they're using COVID and guess who? They're all making money. So when Joe Biden comes up with that mandate, right? Who profits off the mandate? Big Pharma. Because what does that mean? if he mandates federal workers and businesses with 100 employees have to get a vaccine, guess what the fuck that means? That means these businesses got to buy that vaccine from Big Pharma. They're not giving that shit for free. So Big Pharma is sitting here lining their pockets up.
And people
banks making money. Watch this, Lou. And they still ain't solved the issue about the rent moratorium. So what's going to happen when that shit fall through? It fell through in Texas, but not nationwide.
And here's that media for you where when Georgia passed the law that says, hey, you have to have a driver's license to it's racism, right? It's the biggest racist fucking bill ever. But now they want to pass a mandate that's going to directly in New York alone going to affect majority, 70-80% of black people are the ones that are not getting the vaccine, that are the ones that are going to be fired out of this. So here's a real policy that's going to be racist. It's going to disproportionately affect black people.
Lou, if you go and watch the black gay dude, Don Lemon, about a week ago, he was on with Chris Cuomo. Know what he called the non-vax? He called them stupid. He said they should be left behind. And I'm sitting here thinking, don't this dummy know the majority of not vax is black? Don't he know that?
He does.
So he's sitting there pushing that agenda. And I'm going to tell you why. One, because he views his rights as a gay man, not as a black man.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And that's why you'll see me.
That's the point that
I put on my Facebook page, I'll put, to me, you black. Because guess what? If the KKK came around here, they not finna be like, hey, don't hang this nigga over here because he like dicks. They're not finna do that. You finna get strung up with the straight dudes.
And they all know that because this is what happened in, not to get too crazy, but this is what happened in Germany where they were like, oh, the socialists. First they came for the socialists, then they came for the this, then they came for the Jews. And then they came for me, and there was nobody around to help them. And that's what they're doing.
See, and when you said that socialism, see, that's why Killer Mike got good intentions. But in my opinion, where he messed up at, he aligned himself up with Bernie Sanders.
Exactly.
Instead of saying, you know what, black people, I'm gonna align myself with Bernie, but we're asking Bernie for our vote. This is what we need as blacks. Killer Mike overall is on the money when he said you need to make money, you need to learn how to farm and stuff like that. He's exactly correct.
Own guns.
But in the politics, when he lined up with Bernie and didn't demand Bernie address black issues, that's where people like me fell back. Because go ahead.
I will say this:
we do that every single time, every election.
Exactly.
Listen. I'm only laughing because I know Mike hate vote. I know he hates.
Yeah, I know.
I'm the same way. Me and Mike eye to eye on all this shit. Most of this shit.
I saw his face. I already knew where he was going. He was like,
I'm saying. I understand what you're saying. It should be like to me. I just shake my head every time.
It's like the sweat.
If no president elect or whatnot or whoever running for ain't talking about reparations, bro, like we should just sit out that hope. Like what
my thing is this? Here's reparations. Here's reparations in 2021. Here is reparations in 2021 because the point of reparations is to build generational wealth. Here is reparations 2021. Black people don't have to pay income tax.
What else?
And work, bro. It's a lot of economic geniuses out there, man. They'll make it work.
And
I know, right? And
that's 30% of your income for the rest of your family's life. No income tax for
30% of income ain't shit if you work in a bullshit ass job.
Yeah, I was about to say if you don't make no money.
Watch this. Here's reparations to me. Okay, I need blacks getting grants for homes. Not loan. I need grants for homes, grants for businesses. And when I say this, I'm speaking over at least 2 generations, not just motherfuckers right here.
Right.
Business grants, college free.
See, grants just tie you into this system. I'm saying, like, hey, just give me my money because then people like you get to be 30% more successful.
A grant would be giving them the money.
I'm not just saying give them cash, Lou. I'm saying a grant.
Do you have to pay back grants?
No, that's why I said grant, not loan. Grants are free.
Never mind. I was like, that sounds like some shady shit.
Those. We need, what else? I said business grants, college should be free, home grants, so we can become homeowners. We get more homeowners.
Income tax has got to be in there. I just say that
you could put it in there, but I was just saying we need more than that, Lou.
But what I'm saying is like that is one that will get passed. I think the white people, poor white people, I think everybody can get behind. Hey, nobody gives a fuck if you're paying.
Poor white people will never get behind it.
I think so.
No, because poor white people, when you bring up reparations, they're the ones who say stupid shit like this. Well, how we gonna pay for it? I'd be like the same way we just gave Afghans. There's no paying for it. Afghans.
But that's what I'm saying. There's no paying for it. It's just you don't have to pay into this shitty system.
No. I was telling you that's what they say. I'm not paying.
I ain't gonna say it's not gonna happen, but it's not gonna happen though, bro. So I
mean, listen. But you know what though, Mike? You know what?
I'm not saying it's not gonna happen, but it ain't gonna happen.
I actually agree with Mike, and I'm gonna tell you why I agree with him. Because black people, for some reason, we can't all get together behind one agenda and flex our voting power.
Yes.
See what they did.
Why we can't get together though.
That's what Dave Chappelle's saying. That's what Dave Chappelle's saying. The LGBTQ's got a fucking body.
Hey Lou, go back to what we was talking about programming. They program blacks, right, to think, oh, just get Trump out of office and everything is fine. Right. That's why when you make a comment about Obama, if you make a comment about Biden, the first thing out one of them supporters' mouth is Trump.
Mm-hmm.
They don't sit there and say they won't tell you, hey, well, you know what? Joe Biden did do this or Obama did do that. They say, well, Trump didn't do nothing. See, they brainwash us thinking get Trump out because you saw all the people out there to vote booth dancing and shit and not getting nothing in return, right? Instead of saying, black people, tell them or whoever candidate you support, what is your black agenda? How are you going to help blacks? See, none of them said that. Show me one time where Joe Biden said how he was going to help blacks.
All I know is Joe Biden literally told Charlemagne, you ain't black if you don't vote for me. That was his only criteria from an old white man that created literally the most dastardly law that has broken up families, because that's what it's all about. It's all about breaking up families.
You know what Charlemagne did? Laugh.
Exactly. He didn't stand up to him because he was paid by that same entity.
That's because exactly.
That's the problem. That's the problem.
Can't really say, only time Charlemagne talks shit is when somebody like Lil Boosie come up there.
When he's allowed to.
That's it.
I mean, yeah, he's talking shit to somebody else who don't have power and backing behind him.
But you know, he didn't say shit. He didn't say shit when Birdman came up in that motherfucker. He was quiet as a mouse when Birdman walked in there and said,
Birdman immediately said,
basically told all three of them shut the fuck up.
Exactly.
And they didn't say shit. See what I'm saying? Yeah, but I only use that just to say that Charlemagne and like the Breakfast Club, they just cater to who, like Mike said, to who their bosses allow them to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or tell them to. Yeah, you're gonna cater to Hillary Clinton. And guess what? When she pulled that Tabasco sauce out of her purse, you're gonna laugh and think it's funny. You know what I'm saying? Now that's something. Maybe that's something as a black man you could be offended by. Since people are offended by John Gruden.
That is way more offensive.
I mean, you would be offended by a white girl come up there and pull out Tabasco sauce and talk that shit.
Yeah, how about when you offended by it?
And I'm just using that as an example. You know, obviously some people will, some people wouldn't. But it just shows you that when people like motherfuckers, and this I think is another problem with blacks as a group. For some reason, we have to like somebody to like them personally to support them, and not support them because they will benefit us, right? So, and I always use this as an example. I don't care if a fucking alien come down here and say, alien? I'm an alien, nigga. Talk about, I'm running for president. You know what I'm gonna ask him? What you doing for blacks? If his answer is correct, guess what I'm gonna vote for? The fucking alien. Okay?
I'll say this as an outsider looking in. This is what I will say this is that when a white serial killer gets put into the news, prominent white people don't have to have an opinion about that. But when a black person goes down, every black person of prominence has to have an opinion on that shit. And I just think that's bullshit.
Well, that's because the media has programmed blacks into thinking that ball players, entertainers, rappers, singers, whatever, speak for us when they don't. They speak for themselves. That's why they do that. That's why the media, they'll go up to a random rapper or they'll catch it. You know, they like to catch them like at airports hey, what you think about Bill Cosby getting released? You know, try to catch you off guard and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Because they think that entertainers, rappers, ball players represent, but also influence our culture and how we think.
They know they do. They know they do. It does. It does. It does.
And that's why they do it. That's why you got to be a free thinker.
Exactly. That's why I love y'all, man, and that's why I love this show. And we're gonna normally talk about the Hawks. But we're gonna bring this level of intelligence to the Hawks. I'm trying to bring it back.
You might want to leave Eddie out this shit, bro. It's too
anyway, I'm saying I sent it to the message or whatever, though, man. It's one of my favorite things. I had stumbled over probably about a year or two ago. Now I shared it before on my main page though, but it's just about W.E.B. Du Bois. He wrote in 1956 or whatever about how he wasn't gonna vote in 1956. Said I won't vote.
Hey, I got a topic we can discuss later, guys. Is I put on my Facebook page, black men need to stop crying on national TV.
Yeah, I saw you say that or whatever. I mean,
every time on TV, motherfucker gotta cry and shit.
I mean, I feel like they should hold it strong. You know what I'm saying on those outlets.
Bro, like why you crying and he ain't even talking about you?
Listen, in 10 years, Jamal's gonna be pissed off. In 10 years from now, when the whole landscape of America is all different in masculinity and toxic, all that shit. You know, like where crying is allowed, and you're saying that crying.
You know, I'm about that toxic masculinity, baby.
The idea of toxic masculinity is absurd to me.
I'm about that life, dog.
Masculinity.
I ain't doing that. I don't do that old soft shit.
That's their word.
It ain't soft to cry.
It's soft to cry, dude. It's soft to cry when
in public.
Bro, let me tell you something. If it ain't like a death in the family or like something really touch you that happened, that's personal.
Yeah.
Bro,
I have a hard time
on TV. Why, bro? Why was he crying?
Yeah, I have a hard time. I personally have a hard time.
Randy Moss.
Oh shoot, bro. I mean, I had some experiences, man, brought tears to my eyes, but ain't nobody finna cry in public though. I ain't crying in front of y'all.
Well,
exactly.
I cry in private.
Okay? I cry in private, exactly.
Okay. So crying private
because you know what, bro? I ain't gonna lie, man. My wife even told me that, but she be like, "These motherfuckers be crying. That shit look weak."
It does, and it's probably on purpose that they had him. They didn't have
they continue. What's they saying? The masculinity of the black man.
It is the feminization of it, man. It's ridiculous, and I see it. And the thing is, I see it because I saw hip hop from the beginning, and now where it is now, and now what hip hop does is that it fucking promotes these billion-dollar companies that aren't owned by black people, and it also like the Bugattis aren't owned by black people. I know that for a fact.
Let's keep it real, Lou. And I love fucking hip hop.
And the other
we
thing
know a majority of the mainstream rap music is fucking terrible. And I ain't talking about, and I'm not talking about the lyrical level. I'm just talking about we know that shit bad. Like we really wouldn't let our kids listen to some of that shit, man. You know what I'm saying?
And let me explain it to you like this, because the same entity that is doing this to hip hop did it to rock and roll. When rock and roll was Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin and all of that shit, it was cool. But then shortly after that, the 80s happened, and what did they do? They had these bitches wearing teased hair, makeup, and tights and shit. And they
you forgot one thing though, Lou. Rock and roll started from black people.
Yeah. Of course.
So they stole that.
No doubt about it. But when it
stole that,
no doubt about it, dude.
And then they started with this shit. You feel me,
dude? Fishbone. There's still amazing black rock and roll, rock and roll groups that I still listen to. That are.
I get your point, though. I get your point.
You know what I'm saying? It's like there's an entity. The music entity is doing this. They did it to the rock and roll, and now they're doing it to black people.
What up, Mike? Hold up, Mike. About to say something.
Well, I'm just saying it ain't the music industry. I feel like it's a thing that's been around since like forever or whatever. It's just been like behind closed doors for a long time in the United States, though. But I mean, it's been happening, bro. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I don't, like I said, start getting into another level of things, whatever. But bro, it's, I believe in basically good and evil. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to, I ain't gonna bother any of y'all though, but like some of the fruits from evil or whatnot, basically what I know that evil basically seeks to do is steal, kill, and destroy. You feel me? Mm-hmm. So when anything in a sense line up with that nature or whatever, it's that. All right. Being a homo, let's keep it real or whatever. You can't reproduce. You feel me? It just doesn't happen, not naturally or whatever. So in a sense or whatever, you stealing or killing life or production of humans, you know what I'm saying, of us continuing in a certain way. So, but my thing is that yeah, that spirit, that thing, whatever, has been around forever. You know what I'm saying? So basically it's just that's what's behind a lot of these things. And also you see it's that whole world of basically homosexuality and everything that basically runs a lot of things, and they're behind a lot of stuff or whatever. I mean, but even when you go back in the past and you look at kingdoms and this and that, I mean, it was said that Alexander the Great was like gay or whatever, or he did shit or whatever. But
the Romans, they were all
this is stuff that's like happened a lot of times, you know, throughout history. So it's like this thing has been a part of power structures for a very long time. You know what I'm saying? And then also too, it becomes a thing too with, in a sense, evil men use to dominate other men in a sense, and they wouldn't necessarily label themselves as gay or something like that, but it's a tactic or a tool to do to kind of suppress and depress and all those natures or whatever. So you have that's been around. What's up?
That was exactly the point I was about to make, is that little point where they can almost use it as blackmail against you.
Well, yeah, that too or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so like I said, you've had that around since like forever or whatever. Just in the short time period of United States history or whatever, a lot of it's been like hidden and behind closed doors until like I guess recent history, you know what I'm saying, last 50 years or so, where it's been more prevalent for us coming out into being on the mainstream in the forefront or whatnot though. But you know, they've been working at that for a long time too, because you know I talk about stuff like Harry Hay or whatever. It's you know, old white guy who's like the leader of like modern civilization gay or whatever, but he's also too is like the president of like the North American Man Boy Love Association. So when you see all of this stuff, this identification movement and everything like that, when people talk and they surprise, I'm not going to be shocked by it. I see it's coming. And also too, the argument has already been set up in place to be made for it or whatever, though, for basically pedophilia to be a legal action or whatever. And that's the route that we're going to continue to go, because that's the next group of people who wants to come from the dark, want to come from behind closed doors and do what it is. So but if they can just simply to get you to understand, especially in court, and they claim that they identify as a youth or identify as something that's, you know, like I said, in court, a lot of times, not necessarily a lot of times about legality or whatever. The legalities can change depending. It's about wording. You know what I'm saying? Me saying certain things a certain way or whatever. So once you pass in court a certain judgment or something upon one thing, as far as an identifying thing,
set a precedent.
You set a precedent. There you go. So now you have to use that same thing that you unset now for the other one. So now I don't see, like I said, it's gonna take some. It's gonna be somebody who's bold enough or whatever, enough power behind them. They're gonna take it to court and fight for their right to basically be married to a young boy or some crap like that or whatever. And it's going to pass. And a lot of people gonna shit their pants or act crazy or whatever. I'm like, bro, this has been lining up for a very long time now. It's been in the works for a minute.
Well, and you know, while you're here, I'm going to go ahead and do it now. We started this off as a Hawks podcast today, and it will remain a Hawks podcast moving forward. We brought up a point about Gruden because there was a lot of activity and a lot of passion, really, in our group chat, and I knew that this was something that people were. You know, it couldn't have just been us that were having a reaction. I had a certain reaction. It was the complete opposite of Eddie's reaction, where I saw it and I was like, this is lame. You know, this is just, you know, this is just us not understanding and just being led around by the media. We're not taking an initiative. We didn't do this. They're doing it and they're presenting it to us. And that was my initial response. Now, Eddie has a really deep understanding of what it was. And he explained to me certain things, and I agree with him tentatively, but I still think that there is an overarching agenda, if you will, or something that has even gotten him to feel that way about this situation, about Gruden, and I just feel that that's the nefarious nature where the media is giving you only ammunition to divide ourselves. We're not. If we're not using the expo and getting someone out that's a real racist to unify us, I don't know what the point is. I really don't know what the point is. And I'm all about. I've always been all about the. I'm a '90s kid. I grew up with the idea. I was born in the '70s. I grew up in the '90s. I thought we could defeat racism. What a dumb thing I was thinking, right? But if that's not the point, And if exposing people that are wrong is it's so we can get to a higher level, if that's not the point, then I just don't know why we're doing this at all.
I mean, I agree with that. Like I said, I've been got to the point, or also the realization that I can't really truly help others until I'm, you know what I'm saying, really help myself, or I'm in a position of basic power or whatever. So in a sense, that's somewhat my focus has just been to uplift myself economically, you know what I'm saying, whichever way,
And that's
absolutely
capitalism.
by any means or whatever. I mean, you know, of course I still have my morals or whatnot, which is, you know, I won't do certain things in pursuit of that, you know, but at the same time though, I had to come to a realization I had to do that because I kind of did stuff backwards or whatever. I remember coming out of high school, like I said, I wanted to open up a community center in Decatur, like, you know what I'm saying, over in between Columbia Drive and on Columbia Drive in between like Memorial and Glenwood or whatnot though. But I wanted to open up, you know what I'm saying, community center over there, have it. So that's why I spent like out of high school 10 to 12 years to 14 years or whatever working in recreation and stuff like that at community center and stuff like that, learning a lot of things in and out. But at the same time, I had to realize that, okay, cool, Mike, you gonna need the money, you know what I'm saying, to basically fund these things. Because also too, you can get grants, but when people give you money or whatnot, they feel like they got to say so on what it is that you do. Or that's when, you know, your funding or whatever get cut off when you know, you stand or you speak for something or whatever. So that's why you want to have, you know, your own money or whatnot, you know, not coming from, you know, all these other powers that be and stuff like that, because it's like, shoot, I disagree with them, you know, let me come out and say, you know, I come out and say, you know, I don't vote or something like that. You know what I'm saying? You know how much money that'll be stopped funding to me, even from blacks or whatnot like that. They'll go crazy. You know, I have black people going crazy all the time, especially older ones. You know, when I tell them that, you know, how many are like, but it's ignorant to me or whatever. It's an ignorant, immediate, you know, response or whatever. You know how many people died for this? I'm like, yeah. You know how many people still dying and y'all been voting for I don't know how many years? Like, exactly. I hear all that, but at the same time, it's obviously something beyond that we're not doing, and we're just doing it backwards. Also, like I just said, for us, like having a thought process but didn't get the economics in straight in order. It's the same thing. Having a thought process of wanting to give your opinion towards something, but you ain't even got your economics straight. You know, right. Yeah, you could say local or whatever, but at the same time, who you think your local council members and the mayor are gonna pay attention to? You who stay in an apartment complex. You know what I'm saying? You got to at least be a homeowner. You know what I'm saying? You paying property taxes. Okay, that gives you a little bit more say so. But if you're a homeowner and you're a business and you employ, I don't know how many people in the city or something like that, are you doing this and that? That gives you something else to pretty much say. Or you take it to another level economic wise. I mean, you see what Jeff Bezos can do. Let him just up and say he moving Amazon completely out the nation. Man, he'll have the ears of this nation in a quick second, because this Amazon doggone warehouses or whatever everywhere, you know, and they employ a lot of people, you know, where you see cities who we vote for the mayors, right? We vote for these people to be in place, but what they're doing is doing what they need to try and get an Amazon to come to their city. You feel what I'm saying? You're not voting on what business coming to your city. They're going to make that decision without you behind closed doors, just like how Smyrna got the Braves up out of Atlanta or whatever. They did that and everything. The people ain't, you know, saying that happened regardless or whatever. So it's just like across the board, black, white, no matter what it is, it's that. And what Claude Anderson tried to preach towards the black people or whatever is power economics, is actual practice economics. And that's my thing, is actually play the game, man. It's like, right. We out here complaining about stuff or whatever, running in circles and stuff like that, where it's like it's obvious that it's a certain game, it's certain rules set, and you could get the things that you want accomplished if you go the way that you really should, the way it's lined up, and you can use it for good or for whatever evil that you choose to do or whatever. But yeah, like I mean, we know money talk or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying everything is about money, but yeah, you just got to do that, man. You just have to do that. I mean, like I said, I could go on and on and on about stuff, especially like black folks, but yeah, you just have to do that, man.
Yeah, and I didn't expect this conversation to be prolonged like it was, but it's obviously one that we want to have. It's obviously one that's been needing to have, and I tried to keep it in the context of yeah, and I try to keep it in the context of sports, but this is beyond sports. This is bigger than this podcast and all of that stuff. But the conversation is important, and I'm glad we had it. It's definitely longer than I wanted it. And next week we're not even going to talk about this. But this is something, like I said, that was brewing in the conversation, and I knew that it had a certain amount of angles that we can talk about it, because there's a lot in this. Because like I was thinking with Eddie, it's just I just don't think Eddie thought a month ago that John Gruden was this super racist that could save the trajectory of how black people are viewed in America by firing him. It's just like it's to me that's not. It's misguided and it's a distraction, and I don't want to fall for the distractions from these people anymore. I just want to focus on the Hawks winning a championship and getting my and maintaining a roof over my head. And that's all
I don't even say I don't, and I'm at a point where I don't even care, man. It is what it is, man. Like I said, you just gotta keep your head or whatever to making the moves or what you need to or whatever. Like I don't care what these folks say, man. Just know what the deal is. You feel me? Like I said, like even went to the point she was the movie about it or whatever. I forget the actual people names or whatnot, to where they, black folks becoming big real estate moguls in a sense or whatever. They use the white man as the front, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, because these folks weren't about to sell no houses to the black man. You feel me? So it's like that's sitting down, seeing the issue or whatever, and you creating a solution. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And that's what it's all about.
You gotta respect, and that's where you start to understand where it's like, okay, it's choices, it's our mental, you know what I'm saying? And I choose to basically take those examples of my people throughout history or whatever, and that has to be taught more, because we're not taught that, you know what I'm saying? That's definitely not in history books. That's not being taught to anybody, blacks, whites, anybody, whatever, our success stories. But yeah, like I said, choose to pay attention to the things like that, man, because like I said, that better motivates you, and get you out of that victim mentality or whatever, because I hate to say it, and I know a lot of people view it that way.
We're pushing that way. I feel we're pushing the victim mentality more than we are the solutions of what we want. Nobody knows what they want. They just want to say, hey, I'm a victim.
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, people really just want their chance to be prejudiced, or their chance to be racist, or their chance to be, you know what I'm saying, oppressive, you know what I'm saying? Because I challenge people, even black people, like I challenge, like if the roles were reversed, you know what I'm saying, will you be fighting for reparations? You feel me? Like if white people went through 400 years of slavery, there was the minority in this country, you was the majority. It's always been that way. Your mind ain't never been thought of or trained, conditioned, or whatever to know that you were enslaved and stuff like that. It's literally roles reversed. How many of you will step out of yourself, your comfort, what is allowing your life to be, okay, good and smooth or whatever, good or whatnot, you know what I'm saying? Will you step out of that to speak up for another person? You feel me? Not many of us can. Not many of us will, you know what I'm saying? But that goes to the point too, like just to begin with, like just leaders throughout history that, just kind of got to thank God for them, because without them, who would have? Because like I said, Martin Luther King wasn't necessarily poor, but at the same time, though, he took that route to speak up for people who, what I'm saying, was disenfranchised and stuff like that, where he didn't really necessarily have to. I mean, the man was a genius, and like I said, he was staying in the city and had running water, I mean, off that alone would let me know that, because my mom way younger and she from the country and she ain't had running water growing up. So that just lets you know the different economic differences to begin with, that he's even coming from. So like I said, and then too, he went to college. Like here it is. I was born in 1987, man, and like none of my parents went to college. You feel me? To where like even the same thing with like cousins and stuff like that. He came from an educated family, and like I said, this is again black people earlier in the 1900s. You feel me? So that let you know that he wasn't coming from the bottom of the barrel of a black family, of a black soul. That's what I'm saying. So it was a special ability, what I'm saying, to really sacrifice a lot, really his own family. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that, being there for his own family and everything, to be able to, do a lot for others. And, you got people like that throughout history, you know what I'm saying? Nelson Mandela, whether you agree with Gandhi or whatever, but he did for his people. Like I said, you go through all cultures or whatever, you have special people like that, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. So that's where my own journey is or whatever, trying to like find, what I'm saying, that platform, that route, what I'm saying, to attack it. But at the same time, I understand what's going to come with it. But, so it's just, like I said, it's just a matter of like that or whatever. But me, like you're saying, for as a solution goes for me or whatnot, is like I said, though, I believe that everybody needs to just really understand the game that they're playing, understand that the innate, I don't know what you want to call it, the innate, like who we are as human beings, it doesn't necessarily change. You feel me? Like, I'm not gonna say we're just like evil people or something like that, or good, or either way or whatever, but at the same time, what we do and how we go about it is sort of the same throughout history. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like if you can kind of understand that or whatever, you can kind of foresee the way things are sort of going or whatnot. And then if you can do that, I feel like you can better position yourself, to catch those waves, to catch those transitions in time or whatnot, to position yourself to be in somewhat of power or whatnot, though. But ever since we stopped being hunters and gatherers or whatever, it's kind of like the same thing or whatever. It's like we kind of try and find something new. You know what I'm saying? Cultivate that new, and then basically maintain that new, what I'm saying, or control that new. You feel me? So we got new frontiers all the time. Land might be the case, whatever, but the next one is basically space. You know what I'm saying? They're working on space. Water, oceans are still very uncharted. You know what I'm saying? So even with that mindset, if you're an investor or whatever, you probably want to invest into things that are really working on space initiatives or whatever, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. The body is still kind of uncharted, a lot of uncharted territory. So like I said, we kind of do the same steps with everything that we do. We want to find something new, you know what I'm saying, that ain't quite been controlled yet all the way or whatever. And then we want to figure out how to develop what we can upon that or whatever and get our little positions of control.
You're saying a few of us have God complexes. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to just having that freedom of will and everything like that, that is like some of our pursuits or whatever. And I don't believe that's going to go anywhere, you know what I'm saying? Because that's the same thing with like good and evil. And I feel like that little God complex is like the untamed, and it kind of getting imbalanced a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It's like you just overly searching for that or whatever versus like being content a little bit with your role in nature, or you know what I'm saying, in the universe that God has called you to be or whatever, which is not necessarily to just be dominating everything or whatever. It's to be a caretaker and stuff like that though. So
more of a caretaker and an understander, but that's
exactly more of a caretaker and an understander than a dominator.
But we're still beyond any of that stuff, but like I said, I've actually, I want to do the Hawks podcast because I want to release myself from all of that stuff, and I want to get into the fun bread and circuses.
Yeah, we call it a quits or whatever. I had been got out. I thought y'all been shut down the official Hawks or whatnot.
No. I should have. I meant to and I didn't, but I really wanted to have the conversation with Eddie more than anything because I told him that I would have it in public. And I wanted to express it and kind of see the banter go back and forth in an organic way. So I'm glad I had it. I don't want to taint the show too much with any of that. So I want to go back. I'll probably pull these down and edit it down to just where we were just talking about Hawks. But the people that got to see us live got to see it live, a real conversation.
Yeah, I wish I would talk a little bit more with Eddie though. But yeah, like I said, we have to actually be able to speak.
Yeah. So, but we have the chat, and I'm sure we'll have another opportunity. These types of stories aren't going away. Like I said, I'll just get better at taming the conversation about it, where we can tailor it down to a specific thing and then go on, because I wanted to talk about, does the comment make him racist? Like how does that make him racist, and how we can move how we can move towards unity with firing him. Like, is firing him going to bring us closer together, or does it divide us? That's where I'm at. It's like, if this is not about bringing us together, I don't know. There's got to be some other agenda, and I don't want to be duped. I don't want to be distracted, and I just feel sometimes we get that way. But
yeah, I mean, we get that way. I mean, just real quick, I mean, I just know like the NFL and stuff, they're gonna go with what's popular at the moment. You know what I'm saying? When Kaepernick was doing what he was doing, it wasn't popular, you know what I'm saying, for his corporations and all that stuff to back, you know what I'm saying, that such public of a statement. You know what I'm saying? It took more events to happen to where now, okay, it's the thing and popular for corporations to pull their funds behind something that's deemed racist or whatnot. So that's the stance that the NFL is taking right now.
Is Nike going to do a commercial set for Kyrie the way they did for Colin Kaepernick, for standing up for what he believes in?
That's the thing though. I don't think so, because it's not the popular thing. I mean, Nike didn't do that right away. Nike wasn't there from day one or something like that. I mean, I want to say it was probably like at least a couple years after the fact, wasn't it? Or a year. It
was the next year. But,
okay, I say at least the next year or whatnot where it happened. I'd say Nike was probably more so one of the forefront leaders or whatnot. But at the same time, I think that Nike did this due diligence or whatever, sat down and kind of saw that their numbers basically more lean the way of like supporting or whatever that. So they took the chance of, upsetting a small portion that they probably found out of their, a user base or something like that. But I think if they sat down and did the same thing with a vaccination goal or whatever, I think it would be the other way around, where probably they find most people supporting it versus, not, and stuff like that, where they'll be probably inclined to not do what you're saying for Kyrie. Not right now, not until, maybe it's some other things that come from it and stuff like that. And later down the future, a year from now or something. And now it changes, because in a year from now, it's what, 2-3 more strands. They telling them to take like what, 2-3 more vaccinations or whatever. And now people finally like, you know what, this is some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? That's probably now when they, because now that people hopefully will wake up and be like, okay, this got to be a money grab or something, or y'all ain't fixing nothing. So we might as well just rock out and see what happens. You know what I'm saying? But
right. Well, and I think with that said, we definitely apologize for taking it off the rails of the Hawks, but we will be back next week with the Hawks talk. And we do have an exciting basketball season coming, but these are but with sports are beautiful for this reason, because they teach us so many lessons. They put us in a room with people we wouldn't have normally been in the room with, and then we have to all pull in the same direction. I think there's been more racism dissolved through sports than there has been created. It seems like at the beginning it was the opposite, but I think from the 80s and the 90s on, I think it put people in uncomfortable positions that they were able to learn from. But I think that there is a toxicity in the locker room situations where people say things that are blatantly racist, blatantly misogynistic, because these are competitors. These are people that are at the highest level of competition, and they want to destroy. They're not seeing it that way. So I think when somebody says something in the heat of the moment, we have to understand where that moment was. And these are competitive people, ultra competitive people. I just don't think that somebody. Good.
I'm gonna say, well, I don't want to keep going because I gotta get up out of here. But even when you say that, man, when I think about it, I mean, come on, where I'm coming from or whatever, like, that don't really happen like that. The stuff that like you talking about or whatever. The only people from my experiences that I felt that really did that like weird jump, bro, like say some off the wall stuff he's supposed to be cool with was, I mean, really, it would be black dudes that I knew that was from like small country towns, and like I already knew what that meant because they were around, and really a lot of white folk. But like really, bro, it'd be white guys that like I've seen that from the most or whatever, and like I feel like they in a sense just set the precedent or whatever, or made the culture of what it is within football locker rooms and stuff like that, because it's majority of the coaches. A lot of times, like I said, you in these small country towns or whatever too, where majority of these players do come from whatever too. That's the way majority of the white males are or whatever, the young males or whatever, like they be on that crazy stuff or whatever, bro. Like I don't know, like I said, just be like on some off the wall stuff. Just like, yeah, it is kind of disrespectful, bro. Like what are you saying? You know what I'm saying? But that comes from a position of like, privilege or whatever, you know what I'm saying, being in power or whatever, not being, down or whatever, where it's literally like, as a word is being said to your people as like they're being gunned down or being hung or being raped or something like that. So it's like something actually behind it, like, nah, bro, like chill out, you know what I'm saying? But when you have other minorities from Hispanics to even like Jews or whatever, like, nah, it's something, you know what I'm saying, with that. So it's like, you might not necessarily, I feel like I said, when they talk about like Western culture, like kind of dominating a lot of stuff or whatever, I feel like that in a sense kind of like dominated or whatever, and that's what like you kind of see or whatever, and we become accustomed to or whatever, you know what I'm saying, like the frat mentality and stuff like that, you feel me, like or whatever, and that's who birthed it or whatever, that's who it's coming from, a lot of times or whatever, like it's really just the white male dominated institutions basically or whatever. And like I said, I've just seen for some reasons like within, I don't know, I guess you'll say that culture or whatever, like it's okay, like that's something that's cool or whatever. I'm like, nah, bro. Like, I don't know, like that. Like, nah, I agree. That's cool.
Well, we will be back next Wednesday, and we will talk about. Will we have a game by then? I don't think so, because the game's on what, 21st?
Nah, the game will be the day after, so we come back Wednesday. The game next Thursday, but we got game tomorrow, and then game Thursday.
Yeah, so we'll be coming on right before the beginning of the season. and we'll keep it more Hawks related next week. But like I said, I'm glad we had the conversation. I apologize to the people who came here to watch the Hawks talk. But if you stayed this long, you probably enjoyed that conversation too. And yeah, we're fans. We're not professionals. We're not paid by anybody. We're fans, and these are our opinions. So it's for the fans and by the fans. So with that said, y'all have a great week.